Hey everybody, we are back. Quantum panel discussion. The panel is filtering in through the front door, the side door, the back hatch, the basement, whichever
Yeah.
way they can get in. And Lynn, thanks for coming on the panel tonight.
Hey, no problem. Last week I had full moon ceremonies. You
Ah,
know,
okay.
it was
Yeah,
full moon. It was my time to howl.
right. Right. I hear you. There was a lot of that going on. And, uh,
Strawberry moon.
mm, and well, I am wanting to really look at this. Have you seen about the Las Vegas incident?
I did, and man, if you want disclosure, there it is.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
it's a real if
that's
you're
as
gonna go.
yeah, that's as much disclosure as
I
we've
mean,
ever had.
and it's acknowledged by the government because they are absolutely trying to cover it up and to pretend it didn't happen.
Yep. And there were several people out there and only one video. I
No.
don't think so. And it's been a month ago.
Kids are more on the ball with the camera thing than I am. Me, if I'm involved in a situation, I am not thinking about no camera. No, no.
Right. Right.
The kids
It's a
are just boom right on it.
I know it's an afterthought that I think, oh, camera, yeah, let's record something. I can't think of it at the moment. And
I remember my first camera. Do you?
I do. It was well, not my first video camera. I do remember my first camera. I don't remember.
Yeah. I remember my first camera. Got it when I was 10, and I was enthralled with this thing.
Mhm.
And man, babysat like crazy that summer just to get enough money to develop the film.
Develop the
This
film. Yep.
this sort of thing is like my grandchildren look at me and say, "What? What is that, Grandma?"
Yeah.
Well, it's the olden days, I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh
Back in
my
the day
god,
when it was a chemical process. Okay. Welcome
yeah,
back, crafting gamer intergalactic angler. Thanks for coming back to the panel. Everyone is still awake. Excellent. And yeah, I do not remember my first camera that I owned. I remember my grandmother and my aunt had Polaroids,
mhm,
and they were all about taking the pictures. And
I
you
got
had
used
to
to
be
it.
stingy with the film because those things were expensive.
They
The
were,
cartridges for 'em, they
yeah,
took cartridges.
I
On these,
remember,
you would flip down the front, and this big square cartridge would chunk in, and you'd
right,
latch it
right.
down. And
My folks had one, and we lived in a house that was as active as yours is. And I had said as much. My mother
mhm,
said, hush up and stand in the corner if you can't tell the truth. And she took pictures. She was enthralled with this little machine. It was an instant picture machine.
mhm.
And about two pictures in, the photograph was the strangest thing you ever saw. There was there was five of us standing there for a group picture, as parents do. My sister had on my clothes, I had on her clothes
Mhm.
in this picture. Totally impossible. And there was another child standing behind us. How
Oh
about
wow.
that?
Okay.
And we had the picture for a very long time. What happened to it, I do not know. I strongly suspect it got thrown away.
Hmm.
But because whenever they'd say, well, the ghosts aren't real or some other nonsense, I would pick up that picture and say, excuse me,
What's this? What's
how
this
about
then?
this? What is this?
Yeah.
And Shut up and stand in the corner till you tell the truth. If all you got's a hammer, nails are how it works. So
Hmm.
anyway, it
Yeah, I got a picture. Do you
yeah,
remember that blue Jeep Cherokee that I used to have?
I do.
Okay, we were in the process of trying to sell that Cherokee, right? And I took a picture of it. Um, if this is the car, right, then it was like this. It was like this. The front
Yeah, I
bumper, the top, and the windshield right here, and the side, and the door. And okay, there was a woman in the Jeep. There was nobody there.
got
You could see, and it was like they were going
really.
like this.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you could clearly see. Now, I had just washed it up, right? So the glass was clean. It was reflecting clouds. This was something else.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? What is this? I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? This was a digital picture, okay? But I went and got prints made because I didn't have a printer at the time to do good prints, right?
Right.
And uh, it was a woman, and all the neighbors said, "Hey, there was somebody sitting in your Jeep the other day. There was a woman in your Jeep the other day. I don't know who it was, but there
Was
was a woman that came with that Jeep Cherokee."
was the car secondhand?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It was definitely. It had history. I don't know what it was, but it had history, and
yeah. I wish I still had it too, intergalactic.
I
Anyway,
wish I had that picture. It's out
boy,
on the internet
that
somewhere. I
one,
have no
that
idea.
Polaroid of my mother's. I believe my parents had another child. I really do, and I don't know that for 100%. Other than I was twins, I know that. Then I know that brother was not there when things were finally came obvious to me.
Hmm.
Uh, I was sentient at about 2 or 3 months old, and I can remember him being there, no problem. He was part of my life, and then he wasn't there anymore.
Hmm.
And if you brought it up to my mother, all she'd do is cry. So that kind of tells you everything you want to know and tell you nothing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the I think it was another child of theirs. I really do. So you know these ufology, the that Las Vegas incident, as you're calling it, you've
No.
been asking for disclosure, buddy. You got it.
This is about
That's
it.
the whole country got it.
Yeah.
Now, you
And
can believe it or not as you choose,
hmm
but there were people there who experienced it. And I think one of the comments before was that uh, there was embellishment of the story. And I'd rather give him the benefit of the doubt. When you experience something like that, it's shock. It's
yeah,
absolute
it's
shock.
it's hard to comprehend and hard to reiterate.
Yeah,
It's
you
hard to
remember
tell
how
what
you
happened.
felt. You
I know
remember how
exactly
you
how it
felt.
felt. I
Yeah,
had
like
that
holy
cemetery
shit.
incident, and
Yeah.
it took me days to figure out what words to use for that because I was so shook up from it. Luckily,
I'm
I
sure
had.
this child felt the same way.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
I'm
what do I say? What don't I say? Am I in trouble? You
right,
know,
and it
is
gave
somebody
me.
going to take me away? Because
Yeah,
this is how
his.
children think.
Did you watch his video that he put out of the
I
thing?
didn't get to see it. I haven't been able to find it.
Okay, he kept doing this, reaching to this phone because he was reading. He
He's
took
reading.
notes like
Yeah.
he's a young kid, right?
Hmm.
He appears to be still school age. So
Hmm.
I'm thinking he only knows how to write and present in front of a classroom. So that's what he was doing.
Sounds to me like he was using notes
Right.
and
He was
probably
taking.
his own.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
think somebody else did this.
I don't think so either. I think he did his best by writing a report like at school, and he was
Mhm.
reading in front of the classroom. That's the vibe I got. I don't think anybody else wrote it for him. I don't think he was making any of it up. He was using what words he had to the best of his ability.
Right.
And not everybody's ability is equal, you
Well,
know?
if you
So,
my son has delayed processing,
mhm,
and what that means is he starts in the middle of a story and works his way out, and you never know which end is the beginning and which end is the
hmm,
end. And
mhm,
at some point, he will come to the entirety of the story, but you've got to wait for days for it.
right.
And this isn't all that uncommon. It really isn't. Especially if I've tried very hard to teach him how to tell a story from the beginning to the end.
Mhm,
And, but it's not uncommon for ADHD to tell a story that way. It's not uncommon for autistic people who are highly functional to talk that way.
yeah.
So,
Um,
you know,
yeah, I had to be taught how to make a point to point to point report. It took the army to be able to do that.
oh yeah, the discipline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it took there is literally a manual. It's called a flag report. I don't it's an acronym. I don't remember what it stands for. If
I don't.
anybody in the chat can tell me what a flag, I can Google it, but I'm in the I'm in the show. So, but
Frank,
if y'all
what
can,
is the flag report? What is it's an acronym. What's it mean? He'll look it up for us. There you
okay,
go. I got
it's an
Google at my
acronym. It's
fingertips.
um, but yeah, it took
I'm not good at acronyms at all. I'm
I
quite
you
abysmal
had a
at.
shadow just now. Was that Frank walking across the room?
Actually, that was Chelsea.
Okay, well,
Hi,
it's
Chelsea.
not it's accounted for. Okay. Hi,
Yeah.
Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea. It's a YouTube show. He he saw the shadow and he goes, "Now what?" You know, he's seen some of the shadows around here. A flag report. Three different kinds of editions of it. Just
Okay.
actually, what's the acronym for a flag report? Forest land agriculture.
Not
Howdy,
that one. The
folks.
military. It's about. Let me look it up.
No, it's a military term. It's a military report, Frank. Hi, Shadow.
How you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. Missed you last week.
Oh, it was full moon. My night's a howl.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, jeez. What is this? Not that kind of flag. Never mind. Never mind. It's
It's giving you everything but what you want.
yeah, it's like you know how you flag a report
Of course.
for later retrieval or whatever? That's what it was
Correct.
bringing up, and I'm like, all right. Hey, Shadow, how you doing, man?
Pretty damn good. Pretty good. I had a great show just a little while ago. A lot of crazy
Cool.
people. I see Intergalactic beat me here.
Mm,
Thanks for showing up, hanging out with us, freaking crazies, talking nerd stuff.
right.
So I didn't catch your earlier show, but I've been watching all the vids on the crazy stuff that's been in the actual news lately.
Hmm.
It has.
In a
Yeah. The
nutshell, what do you guys think? False flag or something real?
No, a flag
okay.
report is what we were trying to figure out
Yeah, I was trying to
because we were
figure out a
talking
flag
about
report. That's like
organizing a talk.
yeah, recon doesn't. You know what? Let me narrow it down. I might be getting my acronyms mixed up. Can y'all hear me typing stupid loud again?
Click, 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 click.
It wouldn't be the quantum show without it.
That's right.
For sure.
I took my brand new
Tim.
laptop in to see if they could figure out what's wrong with it, and I had like 3 updates that I didn't update. Brought it back home. Still can't do a damn thing when it comes to the camera. But here I am on a $200 laptop, firing away on all 8 cylinders. But my $1,200 brand new laptop just can't handle doing live streams. They want $150 to look at it.
Was he able to do a live stream? Was he able to get online with video?
He was able to, kind of, but we didn't do it because it would require us making an actual live stream and doing the things, and then either me trying to do a live stream from Good Guys, which I wasn't gonna do, or just pointing it at a wall and seeing if the camera froze up, and how would you know, because the wall's not gonna move. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try a live stream test maybe tomorrow or something, but I don't really want to, pay a $150 for them to go, oh yeah, it's broken, because I didn't have the money for the warranty at the time, which was another like $200 for a year, but it comes with a year from the factory. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll just send it back to them, erase it, and I didn't do anything serious with it.
You know what? Check your firewall. Check your Windows security. It's a Windows computer, right?
Okay.
Is it a Windows computer?
No, it's a HP.
Okay, so it is a Windows. It's not an Apple.
Right. No.
Check your security. Make sure it's going through, because Windows will stop it. There's a firewall built in. But anyway, I'm sorry you're having that. Yeah, that's frustrating.
For Tim Freestone, yes, Strawberry Moon.
What's going on?
The full moon.
Oh, right.
This time it's a strawberry moon.
Okay. But yeah, the Las Vegas 2023 incident. I'm calling it the Las Vegas 2023 incident, with the UFO landing and the beings in the backyard. Shadow, you familiar with it?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe the kid. I believe him. And a couple of things really rung true, right? The backyard was blurry. That's a big one, because I had that happen and just the backyard was blurry. Well, just the cemetery, I could see out of the cemetery. I could see moonlight in a totally blackened area. What the heck was going on, right? But I could see. Yeah, I could see through there. The trees are dense, but they're not so dense because there's a cow pasture, right? And the moon was bright. It got stopped. Just, you could see the moon, but there was no effect on the ground. It was so weird. So he said,
a coming down of the vibration that we are
right,
constantly at. I mean, we're a very high functioning species,
mm-hmm.
and some of us are really psychically loud, and I believe that is part of a confusion weapon, if you will, or device that sets us into confusion, so we can't focus on the target.
Oh, kind of like an animal when you put a blindfold over its eyes so it doesn't lash out.
Exactly.
Like when you're taking a cat or a dog, you cover their eyes, and then they don't know what's going on, so they just kind of. Or horse.
Yeah, horse is more likely. A dog or a cat will go completely apeshit if you try to blindfold them. And a dog doesn't like it, but cats are very difficult to handle if they're upset or frightened,
Hmm.
because they'll absolutely maul you.
Yeah, but animals, wild animals, when you cover their eyes, they tend to chill out and use their ears. They're listening. I've done this with
Mhm.
not not all animals, but enough, and I've seen it done a whole lot. Okay, finally. Um,
Yeah.
uh, I got Dorothy wants to come in, and I got to send her a link to the StreamYard through Twitter.
Okay.
And let's see. I'm working on that right now.
I think that is something of a key, though, to know if somebody's telling you straight of it. That dimming of the senses, particularly the eyes.
Hmm. Yeah, he said it got blurry in his backyard.
Hmm.
That was a big bling. I know that effect. I know that effect very well. It happened. It's happened twice at the cemetery. It happened at the cemetery here recently. Well, fairly recently,
Yeah.
and it happened at Joe's Circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
That happened at Joe's Circle.
Oh yeah.
Everything got blurry.
You couldn't see anything in Joe's circle. Even once you
Outside the circle, I
nobody.
couldn't make anything out.
Mm-mm.
Inside, perfectly clear.
Yeah.
Okay, Dorothy, link is sent in Twitter as requested. I finally get back to Twitter.
That
Okay.
is that cloaking device, so to speak, is something that human beings can do apparently, obviously, but they must be able to do it as well.
Yeah,
That's not too far fetched in my book.
same.
You
And
know.
it makes me think that that was like their protective circle. And
Yeah.
then the next thing he said that they went in the house and they were praying and they heard screaming. I don't interpret that like, oh, they must be demonic. I do not. That's incorrect.
In
I
pain,
interpret
maybe.
that as, huh?
In pain, maybe, or frightened.
Right, right. I interpret that as they were praying and they were broadcasting, blasting out.
Yeah.
They couldn't hear themselves think, so they had to scream at each other because the kids were being so noisy. The family was being so noisy because I said it in the first hour. That's where they exist. We exist here. We use sound. We use words. They use telepathy. And we were blasting out and they were praying. That means they were meditating and they were
Yeah.
blasting out like
Yeah.
psionic bullhorn. And
Well, prayer is a well-known device of human beings to protect themselves and their loved ones,
right.
and it's also is extremely uh, effective.
Hmm.
Well, however
Works
you
on
call it,
aliens.
whether it's prayer or meditation or what have you,
Hmm.
it is effective.
Yeah. And that's
Whether
how I interpret that. They couldn't hear themselves on their own wavelengths and they heard screaming because they had to work around that noise
yeah,
because they were praying, let's say the Lord's Prayer, the Lord's Prayer. They were saying that. Let's say they were saying that. Well, we all know that, and they're going to be speaking it, and it's going to be going out mentally,
oh yeah,
and they couldn't hear each other talk to each other, so they had to yell over the noise. That's how I interpret it. Okay, and
well,
I could be wrong.
when I was brought up, of course we churched, but one of the things that I learned was route prayer is really effective. When I say route prayer, I'm just talking about memorized prayers like the 23rd Psalm or the Lord's Prayer or some of the some of the uh, uh, Psalms, some of the passages of Christ, the Beatitudes
Hmm.
is a big one, and those things. When you're scared to pieces, they if they come to you, you remember every word.
Hmm.
Hmm.
You know, the
Oh
big
yeah,
one is
and
I will trust and not be afraid. You
hmm
know, learned that from my mother's knee. You know, if I was scared of something or worried, I will trust and not be afraid. So,
right,
it's
and
extremely
that's a
important.
shield.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is now I interpret that kind of thing as we are shaping the vibes around us,
Hmm.
shaping the frequency around us. We're tuning, and it's effective. It works.
And
It
if you
does.
think about it,
Dort.
it those prayers have been said by billions of people over hundreds,
Yes.
almost thousands of years. Anything with like a really weird lifespan, longer than ours and stuff, they're going to be pretty familiar with it. And if they're the bad guys, they're going to be like, it has a concrete foundation. It's really strong out there, you know,
Hmm.
and there's a reason
Yeah.
why people keep using those. They're they're solid. We may not be able to
Exactly.
see the shield walls, but they're pretty solid. Hey, look who we got in the chat. How's it
Alien
going?
girl. Hi.
Yay! It's Eddie!
Hey,
Hey,
Yay!
hey, how do you
Amy.
know I'm an alien? I thought my disguise was perfect.
Welcome back to
I mean, it's a
visiting the
little
Quantum
80s, but
Show,
I know it's
Amy.
a little 80s, but come on, it's perfect.
No,
Well,
you're absolutely right, Shadow. Anything that is said, and there's passages that were said by Buddha. There were passages said by Muhammad. And those are just the ones that come to mind. The old Taoist text. All been said over a length of time for years upon years, and given comfort and hope to the human race right along. So they're extremely important. In protection. I don't know that this situation warranted that kind of protection, but if you're scared silly, hey, well, it works, and it does.
Right, and I think there's ample evidence out there for it, to be more than just a pacifier, so to speak.
No,
There's all kinds of evil crap out there. Excuse
there
my
is.
French, but there is, and they don't like it. They don't like those specific phrases and prayers and chunks of words. They really seem to recoil from those. I've seen it
Yeah.
in real life. Um, yeah, they don't like it, and I gotta think that it's more than just some sort of like psychic ability. I think there's probably something deeper involved with it for it to stay unchanged after all this time. When you would think that it would evolve, but nope, maybe it's the exact resonance of the syllables or the harmonics or something like that, or maybe something else that we can't quite exactly put our finger on it.
Well, it's well known that words have power. They
Right.
do. Every nuance of them have power.
Hmm.
Whether you're calling into existence, uh, say you're a guy that's doing dictation, and you're changing how your company responds on the written word, or you're doing a PSA and changing how you respond to YouTube. But words have power, absolutely, regardless of which ones they are. If you speak into existence positive things, by your thought, by your word, and by your deed, then they come into existence. But the same can be said of the negative, because that works as well. I can't find the kid. Whole family seems to have vanished from comment, including him.
Right. I'm talking to Amy in the chat, talking about, can you find this kid? She's close. She's in the region. She's not next door, but she's close.
I see.
And
the one that
she's trying to.
Yeah.
The Las Vegas report.
That's why I gotta wonder. You would think that this would be their chance, their 15 minutes of fame, and they jump on it, disappearing like that into the wind. I don't know, man. Especially with the timing. I know you guys don't want to get political, but the stuff that happened last week was, kind of weird with the timing. And then suddenly, here's some other story on, the airwaves that, a lot of people are going to go, oh, this looks like more fun to watch,
it's a distraction.
Even if you don't. Right. And, I mean, you guys know me, if aliens, land and we all get to see it and stuff, I'm going to be like, cool, but I'm still going to, keep my guns. But, I'm hopeful, even though skeptical about everything, because, it would be way more interesting, to get some proof and disclosure and go, see, all us weirdos were right. There are other civilizations out there. Cool. Let's do some business. Let's do some trading, etc. Which is obviously the reason why they'll never let us know, because, like in the great classic Twilight Zone To Serve Man, people would be lining up for days to get on those flying saucers to go on a trip outside, the Earth, and they don't want that. But, it's
that
just
would be the ultimate trip.
Well, yeah, as long as I don't end up in somebody's soup, I'm good.
There you go.
But we all want to know. Even the staunchest of skeptics and disbelievers would be like, okay, I was wrong. Okay, I can deal with this, because there've been so many great like TV shows like Alien Nation, where the aliens come down and we get along and we do all kinds of cool stuff, and weirdos get to date the aliens, and all that weird stuff, that we'd all get into and make our whole lives more interesting. But it would be real easy for the bad guys to take advantage of our kindness and charity in a situation like that. Just put some people in rubber masks and have them parade around. Oh, they have never done that before, and say, oh yeah, here's the alien.
Yeah, they did that in Phoenix.
Yep.
Phoenix Lights. They had a talk. Rich covered it. They put a guy in an alien suit and said, "You guys are taking this way too seriously." Yeah, that guy is gone now.
I'm not surprised that they hid, simply because how much of a barrage was the paparazzi? How much of a screaming mess was that? And the guy comes out with his gun and say, "Get off my lawn!"
Right. And they're going to constantly go back to the radio broadcast of War of the Worlds, and citing that as the example of why they can never tell us.
Yeah.
But that's a bunch of BS, and we all know it. There are literally billions of people on this rock who would totally embrace, meeting and hanging out with and learning from and exchanging of information and ideas, and obviously technology with anybody who made the long trip here to our corner of the galaxy to just say hi or whatever. And the powers that be just can't have that. If we learned anything from sailing from the UK over here, once upon a time in the United States, the first thing we did was give them the big middle finger and say, hey, thanks for the ships, we're staying here. They know that would happen again. That's why we're not on the moon. We'd have a literal revolutionary war between the Moonite saying, no, we want our independence now that we can, make our own air, food, and water. We don't need you Earthlings anymore. And the Earthlings down here would be like, but we paid for all that. You guys owe us money. And they'd be like, no, sorry, we're declaring our independence. Thanks.
Well, ufology has a feeling the moon is occupied by us and
I know.
others.
There are plenty others.
I know.
You already know this.
You get my meaning, though. Not all of us know that.
Colonial,
and
the colonial mindset, right?
Sure.
I got you. And okay, before we go any further, Dorothy, welcome to the show. I didn't get to say hi when you walked in. We were already just going
It
strong.
always goes that way here, Nathan. It always goes that way here. But I have a question for you. Lynn Ann is glitching out on my screen on my little phone, but not on my tablet. Should I go over to my tablet and just turn my phone off and do that link over on the notepad? Is that?
If you can do the tablet, then yeah, because she's not glitching out on here.
Right, but she is on my phone.
If you can do that, yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
I'll let her in if you don't see her.
I wanted to say that with from personal experience, okay, the shock of being involved with a otherworlder is something that you can't process inside 1 month, let alone 2, and come to some agreement in your own mind what you saw, what you didn't see, and how you feel about it. It takes time to process it. And I can well imagine that those poor people are still about 3/4 of the way to hysterical, having improved by 1/4%. It was a terrible shock to see it. It had to be, especially if you don't believe. I know I didn't believe any of it. I'll just be honest about it. I was open to it, or I thought I was. But when that happened, I was in complete shock and disbelief. It took me weeks to come to any thought about how to deal with it, and scared to death. We still do not go over Trans Mountain at night. This has been many years ago now. We still don't, because we don't want to give them another shot at us.
Right.
It's not that they
get
did
it.
anything. They didn't do anything to either one of us. So, I can commiserate with them that, and then suddenly it's all over the news. It's public. There's no privacy to be had. I'd have been half nuts over it. So I'm sort of glad it was pretty quiet. Can you hear us okay, Dorothy?
We can't hear.
Now you are.
I think her mute button's on.
Yeah, check your mute.
I swear, every single computer is all weird in the world. Everybody's computers have been glitchy all day. I can finally see Lynn Ann. Hi, Lynn Ann. Hi, nice
Dorothy.
to see you.
I can see you. You're a very beautiful woman.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I think you're lovely yourself.
Oh, I didn't say that to get a compliment, but thank you.
I had to adjust your mic a little bit because it.
Turn it down?
I had to. I took care of it.
Yeah.
I got it.
You may have to turn it down as a former music director, like trying to get a hold of the attention of 500 kids at the sing-along. Excuse me.
Yeah.
A microphone wouldn't do it. You have to learn how to project. So I just kept projecting.
Yeah, project to that back row.
That's right. So you let me know if I'm too loud. Most people think so.
I got you. I took care of it.
Thanks, Nathan. I am curious to what extent the people who watch all these whistleblowers rolling out understand that the nature of what we're talking about is so sensitive. They can't reveal any details just out to the general public. But this guy, Grush, he died, what, 10 hours in closed session before Congress under oath. So if he was lying, his ass is grass. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Leavenworth is
Yep.
calling.
But they really run a fine line about speaking out what they can without compromising the safety of the people who are working undercover to get this out. You see, there are so many confidential contacts
I do.
in this whole situation. They cannot be 100% honest. People who insist on this, well, show it to us and tell us the names, tell us the locations, show us the graphs. Well, if they did, we'd know. But if they did, then others with ill intent could wipe out our planet in a nanosecond, I think. This is what they're talking
you know what?
Just
I don't think.
powerful.
Yeah, I don't think they're really wanting to do that, because they could have already. But I think humans will be the biggest problem in disclosure. It's going to be
course.
the
They
fundamentalists.
already are.
It's going to be the resistors, the people who resist knowing,
I think
talking.
it has to
and-
become the army of the experiencers. That's what it's got to become. The lobby. The lobbying
Right.
arm of the ufology scene are the experiencers that need to be
Yeah,
there.
they're gonna have
and
a hard, they're gonna
influencing
have
the
a hard,
politicians.
they're gonna have a hard fight against the corporate overlords, the oil companies, the energy companies, things like that. They're just
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not going to be willing to
Right.
watch their entire empires just crumble under the weight of free energy. That,
what I
that's
don't
a big one.
understand, may I speak? What I don't understand, Shadow, is why these big oil companies and so forth cannot reconstitute their structures to accommodate the new energies and still make a couple of bucks. Maybe not as many, but they'd sure help the whole overall effort of people to survive on the planet and the whole planet to
Well, because
survive. It seems like they don't care if their great-grandchildren all die. It just seems like they don't even care.
Well, because you're absolutely right. They don't, and they feel just like with other things. They have so much power. They feel that they can just hand their power down to whichever children they want, and they'll continue to be these oligarchs, forever, as long as they keep that that shield up against the alien incursion. As long as the aliens don't get to land, they'll stay rich and powerful beyond most of our understanding and imaginations. They have so much
This
money
is
and
the
so much power.
corruption talked about. Corruption that was
Yeah.
talked about in the Bible, in ancient texts, of how the people
Absolutely.
that were entrusted to lead by the people who came to help us in the first place corrupted the whole thing, took the whole power structure for themselves, and made everybody,
Absolutely.
vassals to their whims. And we've been living in
Keith.
it so long, we think it's real, and it's not real. None of it's
Keith
real.
said the same thing. Keith has said the same thing, that all the ancient deities, Thor, Odin, the Egyptian gods, Keith has said the same thing. They got in trouble. They got their hands galactically slapped for doing that stuff. And that's why they took off, because they were told to take off by their bosses, basically. And you know what?
Yep.
I live in an agricultural community, and we're talking about the energy aspect of it. We've done it before. 150 years ago, before coal was commonplace, oil was commonplace. You know what it was? Steam. You had tractors, you had trains, you had all these things running on steam, and it worked. You can look on all these old farms, and you can find steam-powered tractors. And they didn't have combines back then, but they had the big tractors with the stuff on the back that acted kind of like a combine, right? That's where combines came from. And they used steam. And some places we still use steam, but we use coal and oil to heat that stuff. Before we were using wood. But the industry can change. It's changed before because we were all using steam. Mass transportation, passenger trains were steam and not coal powered, wood powered,
Right.
wood heated steam. And the industry has changed in the past,
Right.
and it
But
can do it again.
It can if you get the right people. See, what we have to do is focus on the children and grandchildren of these oligarchs and get them to understand that, well, yeah, you may lose a couple of trillions of dollars worth of your power, but if you embrace this free, this new technology, etc., you might get to go to another planet and set up shop elsewhere. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The
Well,
new market.
let's keep it on Earth for now, right? But because a lot of people can't see, you know what I'm saying? You just keep it on Earth. Yeah, other planets possibly, but for now, it's like they're rich people. They will always find a way to make profit, but because okay, the new tech, it takes know-how to implement these things, right?
Yep.
A lot of people don't have that know-how. I do. You can figure it out. Frank can figure it out. Dorothy, I'll hook you up.
If you think I can figure it out at my age, I'll go for it, Nathan.
Yeah, really.
I can hook you up. I'll figure it out for you. But a lot of people don't have the know-how to implement those hardware changes using things like spinning mercury and self-perpetuating motors. They're out there. It can be done. And gravity, right? Go ahead.
Just agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. But there is their profit right there. They could hire people to work on it, to implement it, to make those crazy parts that only fit their flying car, right? The people that make specific parts, proprietary parts. And that's how they have done it in the past. Why do we have, oil filters on your car is a really good example. Why is there more than one oil filter? They all do the same thing. They all attach the same way, but you got 100 different oil filters for different engines. Right. One could do the job of all of them because they're capitalizing on making it differently.
Yeah, they are capitalizing, but they're also preventing a monopoly of that sort of thing.
That's another thing.
The greed goes it goes both ways. It truly does.
Right.
Good point.
We would say good night to Intergalactic Angler.
Good night, Intergalactic. Glad you could come to the chat of the Quantum Show. Thanks, man. Have a good rest of the night.
That I wanted to point out, and all of these points are very valid, but we need to look at our history so we can go forward. 150 years ago, we used child labor in our coal mines.
Yeah.
That's why coal was as cheap as it was and why it was used. We had an entire nation full of trees. We cut them down. We did not replenish them. We've only recently, and I say recently in the last 50 years, 75 years, realized if we don't put those trees back, we're going to literally smother ourselves. And yet we're down in Brazil doing much the same thing. Mm-hmm. We have to look at our history and learn from that and learn something from it, or we're going to experience the same doggone thing over and over and over.
Right. And the industries can change. There have been massive changes in the past.
They've been made to change because of public opinion, realization that it is immoral and unethical to use a 5 to 10-year-old in a mine because he's small enough to get in the hole,
Right.
and that's just the beginning. I mean, it used to be, and when I was growing up, it was perfectly legal for me to drive a fully loaded trailer and tractor down the street. Legal at 6 years old. I could do that.
Mhm.
We had
I
an
learned to
8-year-old.
fly at age 11, but I don't know that there's really a restriction on that.
There isn't. But recently we had an 8-year-old killed in a farm accident. It used to be when I was a kid that you would see 3 to 5 youngsters, and I mean people 16 and under, involved in farming accidents. Whether it was
Mhm.
driving, whether it was combining hay, baling hay. Baling hay was a big one. I had 2 classmates who lost arms in a baling accident. One of them died and came back in the morgue.
I'll be
That
right
was
back. I
quite
gotta
the
let the cat
story.
in.
Sorry?
I
Oh,
just
she's
have to
got to
let
let
the
the
cat
cat
in.
in.
Oh, okay.
And as long as other countries are going
Just
to refuse to see your point, we're going to have a huge issue with child labor.
yeah, we will.
Every other
Yeah.
We
country on the
are.
planet is about they have no compunction about hiring and forcing children to go into the salt mines or what have you to do these things. We can do it over here in the United States and a few other countries, but there's always going to be countries that are going to go, nah, we're gonna put our kids to work. You other people, you can pound sand, and that's going to entice American companies to invest overseas because it's cheaper.
Well, and
Unfortunately.
unfortunately, you're right. The worst of it is these people are not saying we can pound sand. What they're trying to do is live. They're trying to make a living. That child
Mm.
being sent out is probably one of several that
Yep.
they've had that sent out to what this job or that job or beg and come home
Hmm.
with what he can. It comes
Right.
back to a lot of social issues that are being ignored because they
We
can.
are woefully ignorant of human rights on a grand scale for our own convenience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It
It's
is.
it's
That
blinders.
is.
We don't want to
It is
see.
so sad. Yeah. It's sad that we do that, but we do that, and we are not making that decision. That decision has been made for us. We go to
We have
Walmart, we go
decisions.
shopping where we go shopping. Hmm?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, we go shopping where we go shopping. Of course, we all look for the best deal. We go to Walmart, we go to Dollar Tree. All those things are made by people who are very, uh, what do you call it? They're almost slave labor over there.
Yes.
Not quite,
Yep.
but almost. And it's unfortunate. And we did not make that decision. The owners made that decision. The people who run the country made that decision. We
Let's
had no say in it.
dig a little deeper. We are shut up and told not to keep it going. What products are
Yeah.
available to us to buy? I have to stay clothed, or else somebody's going to call the cops, and it'll get real. And
I don't know how many of you have these thrift stores where people recycle their things. Man, we've
right,
got some great St. Vinny's and some great good. And people from
I
rich
I
areas of town
agree.
donate all the time.
They're wonderful. And where I'm at, the thrift stores are being cleared out on a weekly basis. And I'm not kidding
Same,
because
Well,
people
they are
can't
in
same
my
here.
afford
area.
to
They're
go
not.
get
They're
clothes.
being cleared out in a different way. They're being literally bought out by bigger chains, putting them out of business.
Well, I'm not seeing that as much, but what I am seeing is, um, say, a new couple tries to start a new home. They need furniture, they need appliances, they need thus and so. And
Thrift shop.
they go to a thrift shop. Well, there's plenty of that happening, but there's a lot of new households down here. Lots of them. People just trying to eke out a living. You know, it's the recession here is hit pretty good, and I suspect it's going to get worse. But
No.
Well,
really hard
they're
everywhere.
actually allowed to use that word. You know, there is no recession according to the new definition. But yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, I have a communication device that just makes loud noise. I know what you're saying.
What?
I do. I
Oh
have,
yeah.
yeah, I have a communication device, and it's called Reach Out and Touch Someone. It's the last ditch resort, but it's here.
Oh my God,
Mhm.
it's an old-fashioned phone call.
You mean a landline? What the hell is that?
Yeah, my communication device is a little bit different. But yeah, I know what you mean.
No, it's not. It's exactly what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Lynn Ann.
If I reach out and touch somebody, yeah.
Now, you want a good one? My in-laws have a landline. They do. They've
Yeah,
had
If it was
they've had it for the
convenient,
last
I would
60
have one.
years. They've had it for
Yeah, I've
60
got one.
years.
It sucks. Just for the record, folks, if you ever have the opportunity to get Vonage as a landline or your phone actual device, avoid it like the plague
Oh yeah.
because it runs through the internet and they will literally, I kid you not, if they don't like what you're saying on the phone, click,
Mhm.
you lose the connection.
The
I
Yeah.
have literally had that happen.
Yep.
Speaking with a certain relative and friends of mine, they literally, if you were to talk about certain things, they would literally hang the phone up for you.
I had a Magic Jack for quite a while, and obviously it's hello goodbye with those. But whether I got service or not was crapshoot in a literal
Hey,
sense.
I'm gonna cut out.
Mhm.
I'm very tired, but I'm so glad I made it to come in, say hello, couple things, and now I'm dipping out. I hope Alien Girl's still here. I hope she jumps up and talks with you.
Okay.
I
That would
I
be
hope
that
so
would be
too,
great.
but
But
that
you
would
have
be
a great
awesome.
weekend.
Right.
You
Thank
have
you
a
so
good
much
one.
for having me
Have
on.
a good rest of the night.
Okay,
Thanks for
night,
popping
everybody.
by.
Good night, Dorothy. Good to see you.
Good to see you all too.
Push those buttons. Okay.
How's
um.
that old Lawrence Welk show? Auf Wiedersehen.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. If I could have a landline, if it was practical to have one, I would have one. But it's not practical to have one. So what am I going to do? Just use what I got.
I'm perplexed by them. I wonder if they're even private. I don't think they are.
They aren't.
I can recall when they a simple radio could dip into a landline just as easy as sin.
Yep, I
So,
remember that too.
you know,
Yeah, it can be done. All about frequency and amplitude, the power
right.
behind it and the networker by trade. So I understand how that works. It can be done. And there was a time when, and it's still out there, the theory that they're listening to us via the ground line. And I'm like, oh, really? How do we do that? And I went to Joe one time. I'm like, hey, Joe, let's build it. Let's hook our houses together over the ground and let's see if we can make that happen. We never got to do it. We never got to do that.
Would
Hey, where
imagine
is
it'd
Joe?
be
We haven't
great.
seen him in a long time.
He has been really having a problem with his health recently.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
sorry to hear
he's,
that.
we're getting a lot of the
The
wildfire
smoke.
smoke here from the Nova Scotia. wildfire.
Yeah, I heard. Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's just tearing him up, and he's had sore throat and the whole bit. So you
mhm.
know, it's whether or not he'll be back on here very soon. I couldn't tell you. I don't
All
know.
right. He told me he got with me on Facebook. He said that he tried to work in his garden
Hmm.
and he was out the rest of the day. I was like, "Oh man, Joe.
Right.
Okay, well, take your time, get better.
Yeah.
The garden will be there." You
Yeah,
know.
gardens have a way of taking off by themselves. So
Hmm.
you know, as
So
long
Unless
as
you
they
live in the
get
high desert.
moisture, yeah,
yeah,
if
and
they
Unless
get
you
I
live in the
caught
moisture,
high
they're
desert.
fine.
yeah Tennessee caught some smoke the other day too, and I was like, what is that smoke? Where is it coming from? Then I remembered there's wildfires all around, just out there, and it's coming my way too.
Well, this area is so dry. Uh, we're in the desert down here, and high desert at that, and it's kindling here. It's
Mm.
very dry. We haven't had a lot of rain. I was kind of hoping for an early monsoon, but we're not seeing that. We've I live kind of in a donut hole, sort of like Joe does, where we really aren't bothered here by a lot of different weather.
Sorry, I'm typing in the chat. But yeah, he's being affected by the
He's
smoke
right.
coming down, and I get it. You
Yeah.
know, I hope it gets
Well, it's
better. Oh,
I think that
mhm.
he got some smoke inhalation too from a project that he was doing, and he got something of a scalded lung, and that
Ouch.
takes some time to get over. That's my
Yeah,
Yeah.
personal opinion of what happened. I'm not
our
a
friend Grim
doctor.
had a similar thing, but with chemicals, and
Mm,
I haven't heard from him in a couple of weeks.
Hmm.
that's bad.
Yeah, well, I hope he's okay.
Yeah, me too.
A
Me
lot of
too.
people are getting sick with different things. Uh, Phillips, Jared Phillips from Not Aliens, the guy I was quoting so many times in other shows,
Yeah,
he had a
sure.
heart attack. I
Oh
didn't know.
no.
Is he
He
okay?
had a
Or
heart attack. He's getting better. He's getting better.
okay.
He had it, I believe it was 11 days ago, and he immediately got treatment, and he's getting better. He's just not in the public eye right now. And
Okay.
That takes
uh,
time and quiet.
unless you're R. Keith Andrews, and then you're like, okay, next show,
Oh,
gonna write a book.
he's the exception to rule in so many cases.
Yep.
He is truly a remarkable person.
Hmm. And I sent him a link too, but he hasn't come by yet, so that's okay. I know he's got a lot going on too.
He's been having a show a day, for like every day,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I would be I don't know if I could take that kind of pace myself, and that surprised me too. He has something new to discuss every day. I do real good to change my clothes. So,
Same. I'm doing good for a topic a week, but I just get dense, because the field of topics I got is limitless, and it's just me being dense, you
no,
know.
you're not dense. It's just
I
you've got everything going on at once.
I've got a lot. I've got a lot
Uh,
of stuff happening. Yeah.
Something that was brought to me, I'm trying to remember who said it. And I think it was our friend, uh, was telling me that he read where, uh, in regards to ufology, okay, keeping it on topic, I'm trying to do my best here.
Me too.
Um, a a grunt soldier went up the line and got permission to whistle blow. Got signatures so that he wouldn't be in trouble. You know what I'm talking about, chain of command.
Mm-hmm.
And got permission. So that's kind of interesting too. Then
That is.
regarding opening up files on UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would like to see
I
this.
have not seen I have not seen it. I am gossiping. That's
Right.
the
Hey,
word.
that's what we got. We can work from there. And I can see that happening because any
don't
sensitive information, it goes like I had a piece of sensitive information when I was in the Army. It wasn't anything like UFOs. It was local stuff, stupid local stuff, safe base stuff. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to answer. So I went to my NCO. She actually referred me all the way up to my sergeant major. And the sergeant major said, "You tell her to call me." And I was like, "Whoa, sergeant major." So I did. And that was my order. That was his sign off. The hey you sign off is like, "Hey, you do this." But it was nothing super ultra sensitive like that. It was, something that happened.
I know how that happens. I worked for a parts supply company many years ago that sold automobile parts to the United States government. And when you make a bid on one of those contracts, you can take the contract offered and you can look at that contract and say, no, I exclude myself from thus and so, and submit it in that way. And I got one that I made a bid on. It was FOB Antarctica. You know what that means.
Yes, I do.
If they have a broken part in Antarctica, my butt's got to go down to Antarctica, collect the part, replace it, and come home. I'm not doing that. I don't like Antarctica. So I excluded myself from that. I read the entire contract. It had several places there where we could have gotten into some serious trouble and excluded it. And sent the contract out. 6 months later, now the contract was accepted. It was signed off by the powers that be. No problem. 6 months later, I get this lovely little sergeant calling me up about a part that had failed. And I said, that's no problem. Just send us the part back. We'll replace it. And she goes, oh, no. This is FOB Antarctica. You got to go collect that. And I said, if you'll read your contract, I excluded that, And, oh, man, somebody lost a stripe over that one.
I bet.
She didn't lose the whole bouquet.
I bet somebody got in trouble for that.
She did her level darndest to try to bamboozle me into that one. I said, oh, no, you don't, baby.
That's
not this chick.
That's what they do. They're getting yelled at too by their higher ups to make this happen and do it this way. And somebody got in trouble for that.
Get some little snotty clerk in a part supply office that says, oh, no, you don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And, when you're talking about Antarctica, that is not a big area there's not a lot of people involved in anything with Antarctica. There is one office, right, that runs because it's hard to live there. It's hard to do the research there. And there's
a handful of scientists and some engineers and some grunts,
right, to make everything work. to make sure the doors will close. You know, that people take that stuff for they take for granted that if the wind is blowing and it's 30-degree below or 40, 60 below, 100 below, that door can freeze like that and it won't shut. And they have to figure out, make sure the doors will close, knock the frost off stuff. And this is just the off the top stuff. This is not the weird stuff, right? This is
all just general maintenance.
Right.
And I'm not putting a parka on for nobody.
Oh, I know it. I know it. And that thing that happened in Canada a while back, the thing that they said crashed when all the balloons were happening, I still haven't heard what that was. If anybody in the chat knows what fell out of the sky,
they
tell
said
me.
It was a balloon. You know,
right,
yeah, that's what they said.
They did say it was a balloon?
They said it was a balloon.
Okay. But what tripped me out was they said it was too cold to go retrieve it. No, that was not true. My standard issue in the desert was rated for 30 below. Mm-hmm. And they gave us the stuff called Gore-Tex. It was so hot. You would be sweating unless it was 30 below. And then you were okay because Gore-Tex gloves, top, pants, socks, boots, Gore-Tex boots.
I don't know how it is now, but certain machinery doesn't work at certain temperatures.
Right. Correct.
Diesel fuel actually freezes at 25 below, 30?
Something, yeah, it does.
And I've seen it happen because I've lived in Ohio, and it gets 20 below there practically every winter, at least once or twice in the season.
Yeah, and they do that here too in Tennessee.
Yeah,
it gets
work.
Huh?
Diesel machines don't work and need gasoline.
No, so yeah, they said it was too cold. Okay. The machinery might not work, but the people, we have the gear, and in Canada, they're already ready for that kind of thing. So
it's situation normal for them. It is.
Right, that's normal. I was like, hey, Dave Scott, why don't you go pick up that thing in your pickup truck, you know?
You probably shot it down. What could I say? But,
I was and I was about to get on. I was about to get in the Spaced Out Radio chat room and said, "Hey, Dave, the Army can't go get that stuff. Why don't you pull your house coat on and go retrieve that UFO in the field for the Army?"
Yeah, put on some slippers if you feel really bad. No,
right.
I think they probably look at us as damn American, the damn Yankees.
Yeah. Oh, Dave Scott is Canadian, but he was on the other side of the continent. That's why he was on the other side.
Those damn Yanks are dissing us again. You know. But yeah, no, I think that with the whole of did we lose Shadow or did he just
he paused himself.
Yeah.
We're losing Tim in the chat. Tim says he's got to go. Have a good one, Tim. Raven is back in the chat. Did you take care of the kitty? Hope so.
The cat dug out.
Yeah. Hope so. Hope the kitty's okay.
Yeah, I do too. I don't like to see anybody suffer, but I'm more sympathetic towards animals. Usually human beings get themselves into these problems.
Right.
So as far as fun things that happened this week, oh my goodness.
Oh, really?
It's been a crazy week for me. It really has. We've never been picked up by the police in 30 years. I've never been picked up by the police. Never.
Mm-hmm.
And we got stopped by a policeman going to Alamogordo for no apparent reason.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you were speeding. No, we weren't. We had it on cruise control and it was under 75. Thank you very much. So she backed off of that, said fine. We got stopped on I-10 coming back from El Paso less than a week later.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, but it doesn't make sense.
Did they say the El Paso
Yeah,
guy? Did he say,
yeah, he
what did he
did.
say?
Well, firstly, we avoided a real cluster of a problem where an RV almost hit a truck. Truck deliberately uh, kept the RV from entering from getting on from the ramp,
Hmm.
and in so doing, he almost hit us.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
we decided we were going around him. He sped up and kept veering at us, past the truck, and at that magic moment, policeman was behind us. Now he had to have seen what the hell was going on. But no, we were speeding, and it's true, we were. We were trying to avoid a problem, and we told him as much. But he said, you could have slowed down. And I thought, that's the most imbecilic thing a person could do in a highway, is to slow down.
When it's traffic on, if that stuff is happening, then
You
yeah,
need
you
to get
can't,
away from it.
you
You
get
know?
out, you
Yeah.
run. I mean,
Yeah,
that's,
'cause this guy intended to hit us one way or another, sideswipe us or something. I
mm,
don't know. But we got a ticket for speeding.
hmm,
Policeman heard what we had to say, ticketed us for the least amount he could. Said, you can tell the judge as much, you can go to court. But if you don't sign a ticket in El Paso, you are subject to arrest.
yeah,
Okay? I wasn't really feeling like spending a weekend in El Paso Slammer.
mm-mm,
And I'm pretty sure that Frank didn't want to either.
mm-mm.
So, but twice in a week.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's,
are we being watched again? Because I think we are.
you know
And of
what?
course,
Time, you know what to do. Time to break out the good old fashioned interference makers.
it's there. It's there. We did interfere with it. We didn't get hit for more. And I
Yeah.
think we meant to. I borrowed my ex's car to make this trip, and it's a
Hmm.
nice, flashy little sports car.
Mm,
I was
okay.
targeted. We were targeted. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, I mean, you're making big bucks. My ex is, but thanks for offering. Anyway, but
Hmm.
anyhow, it one of those circumstances that I can say anything I want to, but quite honestly, I mean, what's done is done. You know,
Yeah.
they make it very difficult to argue with them about a ticket. They really do, and they make
Oh
it so
yeah.
that if you do argue, you're going to jail. Now, that's obstruction of justice right there.
Yeah. It's an oppressive set of rules on the people.
Yeah. Well, we talked about El Paso PD in the other show. El
Hmm.
Paso
Yep.
Police Department. The people do not call them unless shit has become so real that there's nothing else they can do.
Right. And I
Right?
have a feeling that's what happened in Las Vegas because you don't call Las
There's nothing they
Vegas.
can do. They don't want them there either. Not because they hate the blue boys, but because the violence that is already happening is
Yeah.
escalated by the situation fast.
Hmm.
And it escalates fast. And if somebody's got a gun, it's like they're a complete idiot, you know?
Yeah.
put the thing down. It's not that hard to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
Raven's
but
having a good time with her keyboard again.
yeah, it looks like it. But I mean the incident in Las Vegas
Yeah.
with they do not want to call the police. They
No.
do not. Nobody in Las Vegas wants to call the police. The phrase "if it happens in Vegas, it stays in Vegas." That's why. I mean, it comes from situations like that.
Well, it pays to understand how Vegas came into being.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, it very much a family town, if you know what I mean.
I do.
And
I do.
it uh, it still is. There's still so much organized crime there. It isn't funny, and
Hmm.
the police are bought and paid for,
Yeah.
no problem. So if you're a little nothing person in a little nothing house or apartment there, you call the police. You're taking your own life in your hands in a number of different ways.
Hmm. Oh, hi, Edgar.
Yeah,
Welcome back to the chat.
Edgar has pancakes. Is Edgar
He
sharing?
loves the pancakes. Love
Yeah,
the pancakes, Edgar. I'm gonna make you a
definitely.
meme picture.
Get you
You're gonna
get
have
you something with chocolate sprinkles.
yeah, it's gonna be pancakes and Edgar with a big chef hat, coffee and pancakes.
Yeah. When you're short somebody on the show, just stick it in the corner.
Hmm. Yep, I could do that.
We're just playing with you, Edgar.
Yeah, the
Uh,
levity, the jokes are welcome, Edgar. Bring it on, bring them on. It's
oh
okay.
God.
Um.
We can't laugh together. What are we doing here?
Mhm. Um.
Speaking of laughter, there is Shadow. Hi, Shadow.
Sorry, guys.
Welcome
I
back.
had a little incident with my teleporting blink dog. He's ever since we got him, he's had this habit of being able to get behind locked doors and things like that. We don't know how. He just poof, like a blink dog. You know what those are, right, Nathan?
Yeah.
And my son had gone into the restroom, which is a tiny little restroom, and my dog hates the restrooms because that's where the BATH is, and I have to spell it out because he knows the word.
Oh God, I gotta get out of here.
And somehow I mean, mind you, this bathroom is tiny, and my son went in to use it, and he said he came out and the dog followed him out,
Wow.
and he never
Spectral
goes in there.
dog.
How do you get the dog in there if it's that tiny?
Don't know, but that's Chewy for you. He,
Well,
like I
say
said,
the
he's
B
freaking
word
blinked.
around here.
Yeah.
You say the BATH word here, and they're scrambling to find a way to hide.
Yep,
That's
same
just
here,
the
same here.
X. That's just the
Be
X.
right
So he
back.
doesn't even go in those rooms.
Oi.
He doesn't even go in those rooms because he knows that's where it takes place.
Yeah. So
And
how did he
this
follow
was
him
this.
out? Could he have been in
No,
the
I mean,
bathtub?
he'd have to like, whoa, we'll never do that. Except once, because he knew it was coming and he's like, it's just fine. I'm just going in there, get it over with. But he would literally have to hide behind the toilet, which is, there's no room for him for there, for that. But apparently, he did. I don't know. He could teleport.
Yeah.
I wish.
I had a cat that had and this cat was the weirdest darn thing. It was a Himalayan cat, and a big fat fluffy one. And she hated water too. But she got the zoomies one night and was making the turn around the house. And she would go into the bathroom, jump on the stool, run into the bathtub, take a couple turns in there, and run out. That might have worked out fine for her, but I was in there taking a bath. you know? So here I am. This damn cat has hit this water just as fast as she could do it. I didn't know cats could walk on water, but apparently it's true. And man, I was scratched. She was having a hysterical fit because she was in a bathtub full of water. Never did that trick again. Although one time the stool was open. Bam, right? This was not a smart cat, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and apparently Raven's cat is typing to us in cat ease, trying to send us, a coded message here.
Is it the cat or the raccoon? Or is it the possum this week? I don't
Not
know.
sure. That looked like cat to me, from what I remember. My cat
walking on
language
the
class.
keyboard.
No, just from what I remember when I was trying to learn their written language. That looked like cat to me.
Yeah,
Lots of cues. That's a dead giveaway.
yeah, feline ease, huh? Oh boy, it's gotten weird here.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we were just discussing the finer points of cats in bathtubs and dogs trying to find their way away from the bathtub and.
Whew, y'all start talking about the bathroom, and I'm having all this coffee and water. I'm like, oh.
That worked.
Hey, here comes another cat into our show.
There's
How's it going,
Samantha.
Hi,
Welcome back to the
Samantha.
Quantum Show chat room.
Glad to have you. Poor Raven.
You gonna be okay, Nathan?
I'm good now. Yeah.
I'm
okay.
You need a Gatorade bottle. You need a Gatorade bottle.
No.
See, this is where you guys have it ahead of us. Sit there and do their thing. Nobody knows anything. I gotta leave.
Yeah. But luckily, the bathroom is right there. Oh, sorry. Anyway, Samantha, we were talking earlier about the Las Vegas incident that everybody's talking about, and my biggest question is, who greenlit this story? Where's Associated Press? Who did all this? Who's saying, okay, now is the time? Now it's okay to say this. Who said that? Who greenlit the story? Because
I keep wondering why a certain name. God, it just was on the tip of my tongue. No. The other guy before him, who got into all kinds of trouble saying he worked at Area 51, Bob Lazar.
Oh.
And now it's okay, but this guy is often doing his own thing, which good for him. But
right.
He just got just piled upon for it, back in the day. And, this guy had, I'm going to say, about the same kind of evidence, we put it on a scale, it's about the same, but now during this particular week, during this particular month, etc., it was okay to pop, these two stories in 1 week, the Grosh guy and then the Vegas thing. It just reeks of,
I have an idea. Why don't we? Since I'm basically not employed, but I have a lot to do. But I'm going to dig on that darn thing and see what facts I can find. Not truth, not pros, know that. Just what facts I can find. To see who all was involved, what their names were, and the rest of it.
Okay.
Then we won't be shooting this thing in the dark because maybe while I'm at it, I'll find something of some consequence. Because this is way too large to let them sweep under a rug.
Right.
It's an elephant in a room, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So, let us try to see what we can find out. Frank's a amazing researcher, and he can find out stuff that most people don't know exists. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll,
Yeah, because
we'll
something
try
like
to
this,
find out.
you'd think we'd be hearing about it every freaking day.
We
You
should
know what I
be.
mean?
We
You
should
know, all
be, and
day,
we're
every
not.
day, and you know, it's like, oh, okay, it's out. We'll get back to you, you know, in a couple of years. You know, this would be like, you know, in the movies, you know, where the whole world's, you know, freaking out about it, or you know, investigating and talking about it. You know,
and everybody
weeks
here is
after.
sitting on their hands.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it seems like
wanna hear
this.
more.
This is the biggest thing since the Phoenix Lights.
Yes.
You know, I think that this is the biggest thing since the Phoenix Lights, and I don't think I'm the first one to think that. I think other people have said that too. I think Rich actually said something like that. But this was an incident, just like the Phoenix Lights, and I don't want them to go ahead.
I'm sorry. Does Rich have any information on it other than the little bit that was leaked out?
He has been trying to get information. He's not the people are not returning emails. They seem to have gone dark. Amy tried to get to interview them. They both want them on their show, and they've gone dark. And so far, that's the last thing. He put out one video.
They may have been threatened or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Threatened
And
by
yes,
who? Threatened by who?
Yep.
Well,
and
Men in Black.
Men in Black. Who
Why?
knows?
Well, here's the thing, and I'm going to lead into something else if you guys don't mind. Okay, there's nothing to be threatened about if it's not real. Let that sink in for a second.
Try.
If there's nothing to hide and they're not there, then let them talk. Let them, you know, let them do their thing. You know, say whatever they want. People can just laugh and point. You know, but oh wait, this is classified above top secret, which means it's more important than any other secret, including, you know, other big secrets that I'm not going to mention because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But you don't classify something that doesn't exist. There's you
Right.
know, okay, you might as well, by saying that it's classified above top secret, saying that oh yeah, it's real, and hence the classification is above top secret. We had a president, several presidents, you know, ask about it, and every time they're asked about it, they say they can't talk about it, which means, well, you could just say it's fake and there's no such thing, but they can't say that because why? Because any minute something could land on the White House lawn and they'd be, you know, obviously liars. Therefore, there's something. By them saying there's nothing, or they can't talk about it, there's something. What it is, don't know. But they can't talk about it. Why don't you just say it doesn't exist then?
It pays to understand that the president does not have the end-all security clearance.
I'm well aware. Well aware of the levels. Well aware of the levels above that particular office, and there are many above that, which, you know, begs the question: how and why? That doesn't make any sense unless you understand that there's some. Well, no, it's not just that there's something to hide that other people have determined decades ago that, I'm sorry, just because you get elected president, you don't get this information because you're only going to be there 4 or 8 years. You're not in control of the world or the free world or even your country. It's other people that make these decisions because they've thought it out, gamed it out, planned it out well in advance of, you know, your meager terms in office.
As you walk through Area 51, I'm looking at all the lights and vents and things.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like a house now.
We turned on the lights.
Sorry.
No.
I'm going up the stairs to the penthouse, and I've got to, you know, not you know, stumble going up the stairs. Sorry, I had to make that joke.
Penthouse, huh?
And now into the Shadow's lair.
The Ivory Tower.
Yeah, if you mean Ivory Soap, you're on point.
No, that's me. I'm Ivory Soap.
I used to love that stuff as a kid when my parents showed us that not only does it float, but you can make boats out of it. Oh my God, that was the
Oh
bomb.
yeah, man. I went and stole about 3 or 4 bars of this stuff. Melted it in my parents' brand new microwave,
Oh,
and that was an interesting experiment. I spent quite a lot of time getting that out, and I had a good time with Ivory. So,
majestic much?
oh, that was just the swearing.
This is classic there, Nathan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just because I'm more known for my gamer goofiness doesn't mean I haven't done the research.
Oh, I
I
know
haven't been
that.
doing it, long before I even knew what a 20-sided die was. I knew who Travis Walton was. So, and uh, I always got to think back to even before him, the Betty and Barney Hill case. That
Sure.
when my dad said, "Oh, hey, watch this movie with James Earl Jones back in the day," that movie scared the crap out of me.
Oh,
Because even though there wasn't much really scary, the acting chops of James Earl Jones when he was in the hypnotist chair going through that the absolute fear that he was able to emote on screen was all I kind of needed to know that, hey, this is something big. And then when I got the book and found out about the star maps and all that, I'm like,
Mhm.
there's something going on, and it's not just sci-fi.
you know, uh, I was brought up on the idea that it wasn't at all possible for for any of it. And when the moon landing took place, I was allowed to watch it, but
Mhm.
there was a lot of question as to how real it was. A lot of questions. I have no doubt now that it's quite true. But
Mhm.
uh, it was pretty well drummed into us that we were the only intelligent species in the universe. We were it. Now you got to understand where that's coming from. The very very right uh, religious couple, but none of that's true. Every bit of there being others out there is true. It's absolutely.
Mhm.
Right. I think I'm going to go on record in saying that that whole concept is retarded. Um,
Yeah, I agree with you.
when when the Catholic Church, is got some of the most sophisticated observatories on the planet, you got to wonder,
Why?
well, just to take some pictures, yeah, I'm not buying that.
No.
Mhm.
Sure, they're beautiful and the most awe-inspiring pictures you will ever see. You go take a look at the Horsehead Nebula, the Crab Nebula, and just go, oh yeah, that's just a light show. Yeah, no, sorry. There's something massively, beyond anything we could possibly imagine going on in the
Yeah.
entire cosmos. It can't just be, for us to look at. You know what I mean? There's got to be stuff out there. There's got to be people out there. There's got to be really scary stuff also out there. Just
I have
to
no
Yeah.
doubt.
balance it out. When we finally get to do all the Star Trek things and go to warp 9 and blink you're there, we're going to find things that are just absolutely terrifying beyond words, but there's also going to be things out there that are more stunningly beautiful and amazing than anything you also can imagine.
Right.
It's just too big. It's just too big. The numbers are too massive. And you know now that we know that pretty much every star he's probably got 1 to a dozen planets out there. The numbers just become ridiculous.
Well, it's staggering to think that the exact formula that brought life into this planet is present in the rest of the universe too. I can't imagine that we would be the end all. I just don't believe that.
Yeah,
we can't be.
again,
And it's
The
and
R word,
we
everything.
You're saying the numbers.
yeah, we're
That's
existing
bad.
yeah, in an eye blink of known time. And time is a topic all itself, but there's been a lot of it. And we have existed in an eye blink in the known time. And now we've discovered unknown time. Just James Webb found mature galaxies and universes out there that, according to current physics, okay, should not exist because it was, before the Big Bang that we accept as a fact. And I don't know if even that's being called into question now. The numbers are so astronomical that we simply cannot be the pinnacle of creation. I said it.
Our computer systems are in their infancy. Imagine their infancy.
Yeah.
The personal computer was created in my lifetime. In your lifetime.
Yeah, in our lifetimes.
Well, when I say your lifetime, you're quite a bit younger than I am, and it's 50 years is nothing. It's nothing.
50 years is, we have just opened our eyes. We have gone, oh wow, that's what we're doing. And I said it.
Sentient.
Yeah, I said it years ago that we have made all of our science, and we are just now realizing that our science extends between the study of rocks and dirt. That's my sarcastic way of putting it, right? The study of rocks and dirt.
Yeah.
Okay, oil is found in rocks and dirt. We make plastic, fuel. We use a combination of metal, okay, is found in mines. Rocks and dirt, that's inside rocks. The processors that we use, the houses that we build, the cars, the shelters, the airplanes, all science of rocks and dirt.
Fertilizer also comes from oil as well, which is amazing when you think about it.
And that comes from rocks and dirt.
Yeah.
And that has been our understanding.
James just sent me a sort of a link to I'm not sure what news channel it is, talking about Leslie Kean, literally the same exact second Edgar posted his comment.
Oh, different Leslie. Totally different Leslie. Totally different Leslie.
Lost.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, it's still weird because it's not a
Yeah,
common
Edgar's
name,
talking about.
Having two people talking about the same person is kind of surprising.
Yeah, Leslie Kean is not the Leslie Edgar is referencing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still.
Okay.
Still,
me and Leslie,
Oh, James is still just doing his own research, but from the other side of the planet.
Right. Okay. The underside.
So, I think what we're missing here is we do have a third element that's stuck between our ears. We're just beginning to realize the power of the human mind.
You know what? That leads me to an encounter, a human encounter. Okay. That yesterday, I went to the American Legion just because they were hanging out, and I'm a member over there, right? There was a guy, he brought we're all ex-military, so everything is military, right? He brought 2 3D printed toy hand grenades. And I was like, cool. and I heard him talking. They were just like, you open it up and you can like keep change in there, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Just toys. And he was talking about all this technology that he's been working with. And and nobody could keep up with him but me. I was the only one who understood what he was talking about. Even if I wasn't familiar with the highly proprietary hardware he was talking about, I know it can exist and I know the principles. Nobody else could hang with that conversation. And then he started talking to me. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then I started saying, yeah, well, I do aircraft maintenance paperwork. And he was talking about, oh, yeah. And then I brought up, but the nuts and bolts tech can only go so far. And that's what Bigelow is looking for. And that's what all this stuff is looking for, all the ultra top secret majestic. Oh, I was dropping all the words, right? And he was like, oh, and well, he quit talking to me because he was not, turns out he was coping. He had I'm not going to go into the details, right? But he had a major upset in his life and he was diving into his technological stuff
Sure.
to cope with it. And I just said, and I brought up the science of consciousness. And that's as far as I got when he told me about what is going on in his life. I'm like, okay, you don't need to know. You don't need this. You're good. He was telling me about the support system he's got and a lot of all the people helping him out and what he was doing to keep himself busy and not go crazy, that kind of thing, right? And it was a really big thing in his life, and it has just happened.
Time you go backwards and start talking about your toy collection.
Right. That's what I did. I was like, yeah. I make droids, I make toys because I got out of the business and I drew back away from. I was almost going to say, he acted like he was bragging. He's an engineer, and he was acting like he was bragging. Then I realized he was coping, and I was like, I'm not going to one up this dude with anything. Let him exist. He's dealing. I'm like, I know when to draw back, and my ego is not one that needs to quash someone else to feel good.
It's amazing how much of that's actually going on now. This whole country is trying to cope with a major disaster in the last 4 years. And it was a disaster. It was huge. And whether it was deliberate or self designed or what, we all went through that. And I mean, it's like my in-laws lost good many of their immediate brothers, sisters.
Sorry about that.
In my own, thank you, in my own family, as far as my side of the family, I lost 26 relatives. 26. It's amazing. And the coping that's going on and silent coping right now is there's nobody that isn't coping somehow, whether it's the loss of jobs or the beginning a new one. All of those are stress things.
Yeah, and I did not want to challenge this guy because he's in a hard enough corner as it was. After I realized, I was like, I got you, understood. And Shadow,
I'm very proud of that thing that he had made, I'm sure.
Not Shadow person, Shadow in the frame. Was that somebody walking by again, Lynn? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
That was the real person this time.
Okay, just checking. Yeah, I yelled out Shadow, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm right here."
Yeah, I do get shadows through here that are not attached to a body. It does happen quite often.
Saw one.
But today,
Oh,
everything's been very quiet here today for a change.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I got in a situation. Speaking of being very quiet, you know how I said, and I still do it. I tell Xena and Sabrina, "Thank you, I love you" every night, and I still do. Xena, I've been in a situation lately, and Xena was like, "You need to listen to me," and I was like, "Okay,
It's
I'll
true,
listen."
you do.
Yeah, she was like, "You need to listen to me," and right when I was saying good night, I love you, you need to listen to me, and I was like, "Oh shit, okay, I'll listen," and I did, and
Mhm.
I acted on it, and I don't know if I dodged a bullet or not. That's okay. I'll never know. But
They
I,
don't interfere in our lives unless there is a big reason to do so.
yeah, yeah,
They just don't. And I have my own guide. I have a number of them, but I have one main person that brings things to me that says, "Hey, listen, you," you know, and it's quite often like that. You're getting Charlie too big for your britches, there, honey. You know,
hmm,
and
yeah,
it's usually true, and it's interesting that you said it like that because I had thought about being stopped by the police twice. You know, somebody's trying to get my attention, and it may be
hmm,
my guides, but
yeah,
it struck me at that moment when you started talking about your your Xena and Sabrina that they get our attention. If we aren't paying attention, they will make us pay attention with
hmm,
bad things sometimes, with good things others. But it's staying mindfully in the present that's very difficult to do sometimes.
yeah. It sure is. And you know what? Our Keith's rule: be true to yourself first. Sounds easy.
Oh, does
It's
it?
not always easy.
Well, first
It
you got to
sounds
find
really
out what your
easy.
truth is. That's
Yeah,
a
it sounds
biggie.
easy,
What's your truth,
but
you know?
yeah. And luckily, I mean, when I do that at night and when I'm going to bed, and I go into like a little miniature meditation,
Mhm.
and I open myself back up and I tune in. I do. I mean, it's like I do it so often. It's easier now. You know, I go into the little meditation and I click myself into that, and that's when I can get the most verbally
Oh, yeah.
back from those two. And luckily, I have the presence of mind to listen and pay attention, and I did, and I'm glad I did. I don't know what would have happened. That's okay. I took the other turn this time, and
Yeah.
yeah, she's
Well,
intervened quite a bit lately too, and it's been freaking amazing, awesome, and scary.
we have during our lives a lot of exit points for ourselves, you know, where we
Hmm.
can say, okay, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
It's literally, we can leave. And it not be any fault of our own, just make a decision that it's time to go. I've had a few exit points in the last 5 years. I've had a couple of them, and it always come to me with my guide saying, "Listen, you're not finished. If you don't finish, it's okay, but you're still going to have to accomplish this in your next life." And I'd like to get as much handled in this life as I can so
Hmm.
that I don't have to come back. You
Right.
know, I I have people that I love. I have situations that I want to continue. I want to paint. I want to be able to see again. That's a biggie. And so on and so forth. And we all have these goals that we want to do. But when an
Hmm.
exit point comes up, you know, it's a you literally have to decide how you're going to have it. You're going to stay on and finish up, or are you going to go ahead and get off? And
Mhm.
a lot of people have made the decision in the last 5 years. I'll say five to
Yeah,
pack it up and get off. You
I
know,
agree.
for the longest time we have had something of a an excess of human beings on this planet. You know, particularly in some of the poorer reaches of the world. But none of us have thought about why is that? Why did they choose that particular incarnation? And this is not to make the victim more victimized. That's not
Right.
my point at all. What I'm saying is each person has their path that they're trying to work through and get themselves further on that karmic wheel and more enlightened, more educated, more understanding of why they're here, you know. And
Hmm.
I firmly believe that we have those that make a decision for a short turn. You know,
Hmm.
don't want to be here for long. Want to take care of some business so that I can progress. You
Right.
know,
I
so
hear you.
I wonder if some of that isn't involved in the plagues and the famine and the droughts that we've been experiencing,
Hmm.
simply on a karmic level, trying to level up ourselves and become more of what we're supposed to be.
Right.
You know, and
Task a
that's not blaming a victim now. That's not that at
right.
all. It's saying the
Getting
victim can
right.
use
The
their
person
circumstances.
right. The person comes here for a short time in order to. We don't
Exactly.
know what that purpose is,
I
but
know.
Right.
they know on a higher self level, and they're taking care of it. So yeah, I can totally see that, and that makes me think of the times that I have. I don't. I now I'm starting to think they were chosen against exit points where the
Yeah.
several times when I could see an alternate reality happen like that, like deja vu, but
Right.
it didn't. It was something else. It's and I'm still here. There was I mean, I had one time that it still freaked me out. It still freaks me out, but I'm starting to understand it. In Saudi Arabia,
Hmm.
it wasn't even a combat situation. Real quick, right? Real quick.
Sure. Please.
We had a PX set up in a trailer, and the door was on the side. It was a it was a single door, and the handrails were just a little bit too far apart, right?
Sure.
And it was kind of a steep staircase leading up to that trailer that was the store. And at the bottom, so many people come and go. It's Saudi Arabia. It's sand. It's a big dugout hole, right?
Yeah, of course.
And uh, what happened was I had a bag in each hand, and I was trying my best to reach both rails and keep my footing and make it down these steep steps. And I
Just like
stumbled.
skating on marbles.
Right. I stumbled a little bit, but I caught myself. But in that split second, I saw, I saw it. This wasn't, oh my God, I'm so scared. I freaked out and I thought about it later. No, I was standing, I caught myself and froze. I saw myself fall, go towards the ground, and I remember hearing my neck crack. It never happened. I remember it happening, but it didn't happen. It was like I was seeing the alternate, you know? Yet Raven,
Oh, oh
yeah,
wow.
right? They
I
were.
guess so.
They
Um,
were.
you know, that's a weird thing because it's a psychic moment of seeing what is about to happen And if you don't change your trajectory, right the heck now, that's what's gonna happen. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I saw
those I've
an
had those
alternate.
moments. I bet Shadows
I
had them. And
Yeah, yeah.
sure, the kind of work that you did
Usually
before and
surfing,
even
but yeah.
after. Yeah. When you're in a high stress situation, a moment of relaxation, this suddenly becomes stress all over again. That
mm-hmm.
man you can see. It's really odd. Try it sometime. Find if you're under a lot of stress, and then you de-stress, and then suddenly bang, you're stressed again. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm talking about.
Oh,
And
I do.
at that moment, okay, or soon after, think about what it is you want to know in the future.
Yeah, I will try to do that,
Try
but
it. Just try it. It may work for you, it might not. But
yeah.
if you try it, there's something about the chemical soup of the human body that when those moments happen, it jars us in our brain, and we could see stuff. It's fast. You,
Mm-hmm.
and what's the thing that irks me the most about it, though, is having to see it in fast motion, and try to process what it was I saw.
Mm-hmm.
That's annoying as hell.
Yeah, and when I was not falling down the steps, I could see, and I was in a state where I had gone from stressed to not stressed, just like you said. And
Mhm.
I was calm. I was going back to my room, back to my barracks, and I was just like, and when I caught myself, I saw the alternate thing happen,
Yeah,
and the stress went right back up because it traumatized me. That was traumatic.
yeah, I can bet you
That
was.
was, I mean, I heard, I heard my neck crack. This was 30 years ago, and I'm like,
Have you
or
ever had a
25 years
broken
ago.
bone? Have
Hmm?
you ever had a broken bone?
Yes, I broke my arm.
Uh huh.
I broke my wrist, and I heard it crack too. This was a different crack.
Yeah.
This was a crunch of a crack. My when I broke my wrist, it was like a pencil snap. It's just a big chunky pencil.
Nap.
And
Hmm.
Yeah.
but when I heard this, I heard it was a crunch crack, but it was loud, and it was like, you know
Yeah.
how you,
You'd hear it. You'd hear it for
yeah,
sure.
you hear it in your head. That's the way I perceived it. It wasn't like in my ears. It was like,
No, the conduction bone in the back of
right.
your
It was
head
like
would
it
cause
went
you to
all
hear
the
it.
way through,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh, I was literally standing there like that for
Oh
like,
my God! It could have broke my neck. You know.
yeah,
But
and oh my god, no, it was like, oh my god, I broke my neck, but then I was like, no, I didn't. It was that kind of clarity, and I was like, oh my, ah. And I was like, I had to shake it off. I mean, I still get chills thinking about that.
years ago, I was in a martial arts competition, in a at that moment a exhibition, you know, and the movement is basically running at your opponent, climbing them, or jumping up so far on them that you literally throw a leg around them and throttle them. Okay, it can be a killing move if it's done wrong. And I had my partner. My partner had done this with me many times. Knew that I knew what I was doing, and there was no reason to fear. You know,
Hmm.
I'm in air to do this movement, and he moved, and I had to change my trajectory in midair so not to kill him, okay, or to hurt him badly. And we executed the move, and I'm laying on the floor. He's not hurt. I fractured my L5 in my back. And I was on crutches till that healed. It was a fracture. It was not a clean break. Thank goodness. But it I heard it crack. I know what you're talking about. And I laid on the floor and I said, I have broken my back. This is what has happened. How do you know? Are you in pain? No, I'm not. If I move from here, I'm going to be, you know. So I ended up getting carried off field and, taken an x-ray. Okay, you fractured it. You have not broken. Okay, great. On crutches for, I don't know, 6 weeks, probably a little longer, till that thing healed up. But that moment he moved, I knew 2 seconds before he did that he was gonna. That little second motion, I don't know whether it was a cue off of him or what, but I knew he was moving. And trying to change a trajectory in midair is not easy.
No, and there's a trick to it.
Yeah, there is.
It
has a lot to do with your mindset and the decision not to fail. You know, I am not failing this. I'll kill him if I do. You know, but I've never done that movement since. I can't. I'm told that if I do, I would break my back. But it doesn't matter to me that I can't do that. He's alive and kicking. That matters to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. Well, Raven is saying that
in-between moments are very important to psychic.
Yeah, those. I am so glad that I was you know what? I say that thing freaked me out.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I had the experience. All these things that I say freaked me out and I was scared and this and that.
Sure.
I still appreciate the experience because it was cool in a scary, weird, scary kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was awesome. And all of it, you know, even the more recent, the graveyard thing.
Yeah.
I was scared to death, but I'm glad it happened because now I know it's real, you know?
Yeah. Well, it actually, it's one of the most profound psychic moments I've ever had in my life. I mean profound, as in, I have to change this, and then did in midair, and it's not something I'd want to do again, obviously.
Right.
But I realized that's why I brought it up. That was when I realized you can go from high stress, you're relaxed, gonna do something, and then suddenly it's high stress all over again. Talk about an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
And then be able to see exactly what is going to transpire. Just as clearly as if it already happened. And be able
I know the feeling. I know that feeling so well. And I don't know if I mentioned it on the show here, but I did the Convention Day show a few weeks ago, and there was something happen there. I didn't think about it at the moment. Okay. I go and hold on, let me show you what I'm talking about. Not that one. This. Okay. The pass for the show was like one of these, right? Just enough. It's like when, and it's on a
Like a
lanyard.
lanyard. Yeah, sure.
Right. Well, the pass is just the paper pass, right?
Hmm.
The pass is just a big paper card, produced by the guys putting on the show. And what I was doing, if this thing will cooperate with me, was people were giving, okay, say this is the pass, right? This is not the pass, but say this is, okay, everybody's got one of those. Not everybody's got one of these, right? Here's
Right.
was my deal. People were giving away stickers, giving away little knickknacks, swag,
Sure.
and it's not to make money, it's to build the community, right?
Right.
And being support staff for approximately 10,000 years, I clicked into support staff mode, and I was like, okay, I'm going to order a pack of 50 of these and hand them out. And that's what I did, right? Not because I was making money, but because it helps build the community. The plastic sleeve to put your pass in, because they're considered, people like them, and it's memories, and you keep your movie
Another
tickets.
time you could put the
Souvenirs,
Quantum
man.
show on it or something like that. Sure.
Right,
Souvenir.
right. Well, I passed these out, and that's what I did. And something happened. I didn't think nothing about it at the time, and I didn't realize it until later.
Mm.
Early on, I was giving them away. I had a big fat stack of them, and I was literally tossing them out to people, right? And there were these two guys. There's always two, right? There were these two guys.
They keep
One
each
was
other straight. It's like nuns.
one was right. One was a little bit taller than me, and one was a bit taller than me.
Mm.
Not 7 or 8 feet tall, but 6 foot, right?
Mhm.
6
Big
foot,
Frank?
6'1". No,
How
this was not
disappointing.
Frank. But I was giving them out, and I see these two guys. They have the pass, the paper pass, and I just see Saturday, right? Because they had the different passes and whatever. And I was like, hey, your passes are collectible too. Have a pass protector. They both declined. Okay. And they said that no, thank you. And I was like, okay, we don't need them, or this is cool, give them to somebody else. No, thank you. And then they went about their way. And I didn't think about it because I was busy passing out passes, 30,000 people, right? So I'm covered up. I'm shielding like hell. And later on, I realized these guys weren't dressed for the occasion. Just like those two girls that I saw in Indiana, right? But they could have been the same person except for height, okay? Both had short, this is the only thing I remember, short, gray, curly hair. Both of them, short, gray, curly hair. And they were both dressed like 1950s. And but it wasn't a cosplay.
No.
I don't know if these guys were from not here, or they were investors or something, right? But I have to go undetermined. Not like definitely Indiana was, they were definitely
They're
not from here,
question
right?
They're
Right, but
question
these
mark.
guys, I can't. Okay, when you're at a convention and someone gives you something for free, even if you're not going to use it,
No,
you
you
pass
take
it
it.
on.
Or you
Right, you take
or
it.
you pass it on. Yeah.
Right, you gracefully accept it. Thank you so much. Oh, here, you can have this, or just something. They're like, oh, no, thank you. And they didn't say anything else. They just said, no, thank you. And
They're on the job.
but what job? One was wearing a tie and a vest over a button-up shirt, and the other guy was wearing
In
a
this
button-up
weather?
shirt. Yeah, at a
In summer
convention.
weather?
Yeah, it's hot too.
Yeah.
And it was hot up there. He was wearing like a vest and a tie with his shirt and his slacks. And I believe they were loafers, but I didn't really get that good a look because I was.
Was he wearing a coat or a blazer
No.
too? Just
No.
his shirt and tie. I can't imagine that the religious groups would have gone to something like that.
I didn't see a necklace. I didn't see cufflinks or anything on his pocket. I didn't see anything like that. I just saw they were dressed like that, almost like church, but more
Businessy instead of churchy.
right, more businessy.
But here's one of the, the fact that you said you got the whole 50s vibe. A lot of people in my previous circles dress like that because because they didn't spend money on clothes. They just kept using what they had. You know what I mean?
True.
They weren't up to the latest fashions or whatever. They're on the job, so they're wearing a suit and tie, for example. And it's a shame you didn't have pictures or knew more about like when they were made. You know what I mean? Because if you could
I do.
definitely say they were definitely made in the 50s, well then that would make them 70 something years old, and they don't exist because clothes that old don't make it that long unless they're
Right.
in a museum.
They
they're-
do sometimes. I've seen them go.
No,
that long
I
with
I get it, but not if they're worn regularly. You know what I mean?
They would wear out. Of course they
Right.
would.
But
I
if they were
have a
from
question.
Mhm.
Were they pressed?
Yes, they were. They had the lines up and down the sleeves of being ironed.
Wow.
I do remember that they were ironed shirts.
That's what probably gave you the impression of 50s right there. They were pressed to
Just-
the nines.
Yeah.
All of it. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And
I would literally,
Were they old people? I do have that question. I'm sorry.
They were-
gray hair.
Gray hair, older than me, but not very old.
Frank-
they were up.
Frank
They were.
Frank is 2 years older than you and has white hair. Okay.
Right.
So I mean, for me, hair isn't the denominator.
Right. That,
Okay, here's something. Did they look related?
yes, they could have been the same guy. Looking back, the face was not as nondescript, generic human as you could think. And they looked like the same person, just one taller than the other. And I was like, well, that's strange. I didn't notice any striking features. Like, okay, striking features. All right. I have a large chin and I have this thing going on, right? Striking feature, Shadow, you keep your beard in a point and you have long straight hair. Striking, that's a standout feature.
Right.
Lynn, you have the striking features that you have. You have the dark brown hair, okay? And the glasses that you're wearing and your certain shape of cheekbones and stuff, right?
I have solid Russian face.
Right. Certain features that stand out. These people, I can't remember their faces. I remember they had faces, but I don't remember how they were put together. I remember.
Are you usually able to remember faces?
I'm excellent with faces.
See, and I'm not. I can forget somebody in the next moment, and that it's a block that I have.
Mhm.
I simply
Okay.
don't remember faces. It took me about a year to remember what Frank looks like.
Oh, wow.
My little boy, right? Every mother knows their child, right? No, sorry, I didn't. It's something to do with my mental makeup. But
Mhm.
oh, she's ready. It started raining.
Wow.
Oh shit.
She needs coffee. You know what?
Yes, you
I
do.
need coffee. Me
No,
and
you're
Raven are
not.
going for coffee. Me, Raven, and Amy are going for coffee.
Yeah. She probably
I'll
needs
be
a shot
back.
after what she's been
Yeah,
through.
I'll be right back.
I, I don't know how she does it. I don't. God love her. No, it has some sort of long involved name for not being able to remember faces, but
Mm.
I I just it takes me time.
Yeah,
So
I'd literally be dead if I couldn't do that. Don't forget the pancakes.
yes,
Yeah,
of course.
I need to avoid bread there, buddy. Uh, yeah,
Starches
yeah, at
on
least for a little
purpose.
while.
There.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
not
okay.
well, yeah. Uh,
No, I took carbs out of my diet almost completely, and it's made a world of difference for me. And,
yeah,
and that doesn't mean I don't go crazy and go get a pizza once in a while. You were saying?
yeah. No, yeah, just for probably the summer. Then I'll go back. Uh, summer's coming. It's going to be 120 some odd degrees in about 5 minutes. So
Hmm.
if I could lose a little bit of weight before then, my life will be a whole lot easier.
I see.
And since my son's going away to Mexico in a couple of weeks, it'll be even easier to do that if he's not here. Because
You'll
I
be
make,
there
you
in
know,
the house by yourself?
yeah, yeah. You know,
Yeah, so
because I
that
make,
that you eat exactly the way you want to then.
right and not have to deprive him of anything
Yeah.
like pizza.
Well, it's not forever, it's just for the moment. That always
Right.
helps to remember that.
And then of course as soon as it, you know, turns September 15th, I'll gain all the weight back.
Maybon, huh? That sounds about right. That's feast day.
Probably.
No, I control uh, my sugar by how I eat. Says ain't nobody giving me no damn shot, and I am not taking any of the pills they got.
I
That's
hear
a
you. I hear
shortcut
you.
to kidney failure, and I'm not having it.
Yep,
So
I hear you. I hear you. I
Frank Frank got me this lovely watch that tells me what my glucose is, my blood pressure, my oxygen level, which is good to know, and the slew of other stuff. Who knows how to use it? And it's got a pedometer on it. He says, "You're."
that's
I
good
said,
thing to
"I
have.
don't want to wear a watch." He goes, "I don't care. Put it on."
Hmm. Yeah, I haven't worn a watch in decades.
Yeah.
I don't need one. I'm retired. I don't care what time it is. Do what I want, you know. Other than, you know, waking up to make breakfast for the boy, and then, you know, he goes off to school and I go back to sleep.
He better be learning how to do the breakfast thing here shortly.
Yeah, yeah. He's got most of it down. I taught him how
Good.
to make spaghetti and meatballs last week, and
There you go. That's a staple.
mhm.
No, it's like I told Frank. It's a lifestyle change, not a prison sentence. If I
Yeah.
decide I want something in
Okay.
the interim, I get it. And then I
Okay,
go
doke.
back to my other program and don't even think about it.
What I
We were
miss?
talking about not eating a lot of starches and carbohydrates and stuff.
Okay.
Losing a little bit of weight so things are a little cooler.
Yeah.
It works. And for men in particular, it works quite quick.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I lost like 50 pounds in like 5 months.
Oh, yeah, easily. So it's
Okay.
low carb.
Low everything. Yeah,
Proportional.
I went. That's why I don't drink coffee anymore because or anything else because I was drinking coffee for breakfast, coffee for lunch, and then dinner, and it yeah it was pretty drastic. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
Mm.
No,
I was on
drink
I was
one.
on about a 500 calorie a day diet.
Ooh, that's extreme.
Mm.
I was in an extreme hurry.
Yeah.
I'm very
Apparently.
impatient. You know, this time not gonna be that so extreme, because I don't want to have the same issues, but
Well,
switch to
don't ruin your metabolism
right
because it
and
can be.
yeah, and going to straight water instead of all the other stuff
That
was
doesn't hurt.
no, it was actually one of the smartest things I've ever done in my life. So that be a good indicator how how many big ass mistakes I've made over the course of 56 years.
Oh, gee. Yeah, like the rest of us, huh? No, I went from a 4-pot a day coffee habit to 1 cup first thing in the morning and not anything else. No more. I just said, this is ridiculous. My body can't sustain this, and I need to stop it. You know?
Yeah, exactly. But
I know I preach.
I had a cup this big. It was huge, and I'd fill that thing 10, 15 times a day.
Mm.
And I wondered why I had anxiety problems. Gee, let me think.
yeah, I could.
And I'm Buzzy the hummingbird anyway, and that wasn't doing me any favors.
Yeah. Well, I do. I know I preach coffee, but I've actually cut down myself. I don't drink 3 pots a day anymore. 2 pots a day. I barely break a pot a day. So I have cut down. Still a lot, but I have cut down.
Well, here's the good thing that you guys, or at least I've noticed, when you do that, it makes you appreciate it more. Instead of it, being, like air, and you just have to live with it, or you can't live without it. It makes you remember and appreciate what you liked about it to begin with, when it's special. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's no longer, it becomes like, no longer special, just required, like like air and water. You can't live without them, so
Right.
you take it for granted. And coffee, should be like a special thing. That's a big deal. There's a reason people will go to Starbucks, wait in line for a half hour for something they could make at home, and then spend $10, for it. They're making it special. They're not
Right. I get it.
Well, I make a half an urn of coffee every day, and I say an urn because it is quite large, but I have 5 people drinking out of it.
Because when I think urn, I think the other kind,
like this, huge.
The kind they put people in.
No, not quite so specialized. So
Necromantic coffee. Folger's necromantic brew.
We'll bring it back to life.
Vampiric blend.
Literally.
It's I make a half of one of those, and that's enough coffee for everybody in the house to have 2 cups, and me to have my one.
You guys are killing it, right?
I'm sorry.
Just because I gave it up doesn't mean I don't think about it.
Okay, sorry about that.
As long as I can't smell it, I'm good. As long as I can't smell it, I'm good.
I can
smell it,
smell
and
that
it's like
stuff. First thing in the
because
morning.
it is one of the best smelling things. There aren't too many things that smell better than coffee first thing in the morning. There really aren't. There's like 2 things, and
bacon and eggs. That's
okay,
one
4th
of my
thing.
favorites.
Okay, 4th thing. But as long as I don't smell it, I'm good.
Frank says that he has 1 cup a day, and he pointed at the urn. They hold 8 cups.
For me, it was literally
8/16. That is.
for me, it was a blender full of mocha frappuccinos.
Oh.
I would make that, and that would be my breakfast and my lunch. When I made it, I would just put the rest in the freezer, and it didn't really have a lot of coffee in it, but it had milk and sugar and chocolate and all that.
Now,
and lots
who's
and lots of
fermenting who?
I'll give you the recipe. It's really easy. It's real easy.
I know. I no, I don't want it. No. No. No, I've got my blood sugars well under control right now, and that would send me off the side of the planet.
Well, where is Raven?
I only know the recipe for a blender. You can't make less. You gotta make a whole blender.
I think that I just have the mindset to overdo stuff, and I'm learning slowly but surely that one is enough, of whatever it might be. I don't have to have a box of chocolates, or something of that nature. I can have one, and I'm happy with that. And I realized, like you were saying, I so appreciate that one. The next 6 don't matter. That first one's the one I want.
Yep, that whole gratitude thing. It really needs to be brought back like other things that we've thrown to the wayside.
Well, gratitude and manners, but gratitude in particular, because gratitude is the key that opens all doors, universally as well as just in the everyday mundane life. When you're trying to manifest something, whether it's a good program or
this one works pretty good too.
What is it?
Ask Frank.
I don't know if he can see it. He just stepped out for a smoke. But
that is a lockpick.
A lockpick. Now that's something to be grateful for, and doubly grateful for if you know how to use it.
That's why I bought them.
Most of the time, it's things like that. I'm all thumbs with. It's weird. I'm an artist.
You know what?
I do
you know what? The old Hardy Boys trick using a bobby pin. It works. It does. You just got to know. You got to break the bobby pin in half and burn off that little rubber thing at the end, and then know what to do with the two pieces. And it really does work. For the longest time, growing up, I was like, how can that work? How can that work? And then when I got them, I'm like, oh, now I know how that works because they're the same shape.
You see it?
Yeah. Yep. Frank can show you how to use one of those. And,
probably. Probably is a lethal weapon as well. Of course, that's.
Well, yeah, if they're asleep. If they're asleep, I mean, you might as well just use your fists, I mean, unless you're trying to make it look like an act. I really can't say here and now, but, there can be fun, and I mean, you just gotta have the right enthusiasm and pride in your work. That's what I'm looking for.
I absolutely know what you're saying.
If you've got that, you can overcome anything.
Boy, that's no lie.
I remember this one time I worked in retail for a short period of time, and we were putting together a display case, and there was this one piece of pegboard that needed to be put in, but there was only about this much space between the ceiling, and you had to put it in through the top. And everybody's like, oh, we got to just take it down. You'll never be able to put it in that way. And I'm like, up at the ladder, I'm like, watch and learn. Doing the freaking limbo, bending that thing back in. Got it in there. Looks like, I think somebody, bet me like $5-10. But I couldn't do it. I'm like,
get over here.
What? That was so weird.
God damn it. Where's the...
I don't think Raven's quite ready to come on yet. Oh,
I'm
here
just
she
curious.
comes. I'm gonna.
Hi, Raven.
Who's she
I
talking
muted
to?
her.
Hi.
It sounded like she was receiving orders from her Chinese overlords.
That's what it
tell you what.
sounded like. He's right.
Feline overlords.
I'm not used to doing
Feline
this on the
overlords.
phone. I don't even know where.
Siamese cat?
What?
It's working.
Just making jokes.
It's working.
Oh, good. I tell you, I just decided it was too hot in the house. I said, so what? It's raining. Fuck it. It's I mean, screw it.
That's
pardon
okay.
my
We're
French.
on the internet. Go for
Okay.
it.
My virgin ears, whatever shall I do? Oh my God, I have to go watch the Mountain of Holy One.
Oh,
Yeah. So the the
that
storm
dramatic
door that
enough?
I
I'm not sure.
shot out with all the glass. Well, I never did get around to cleaning up all the glass. It's underneath the deck, and that's where I had to go to get this kitten, right? And
Oh,
I tell you,
Are you okay?
I got two. Well, I had two ticks that I pulled out of my hair, and that freaked me out. And so I went in and put my head under the sink and got my hair wet and went through, made sure that was only two of them. So my hair's already wet. So it was the rain. But I had to get all the tarp up and the kittens under the tarp and the tools I had. I got the leaf blower laying out in the middle of the deck. I didn't know it was supposed to rain. Who knew, right? So I got all that put away, and then I put all my stuff in the house. And I was like, it's too hot. I came all the way back out here. So here I am finally. Sorry.
Okay.
Indeed, Frank, indeed.
Oh, yeah, I tell you, it's crazy.
Bobby
just
Pin,
part of the
paperclip. No, he doesn't know nothing about what we were talking about, did he?
And I have your thing is flickering on the phone so bad, and you flicker between Nathan's face and your face. It's really weird. But when I look on the computer,
it should be.
It's okay. That's really weird.
Yeah. It may just be the technology can't keep
That's
up
really
with
kind of
it.
trippy.
It is.
Yeah, because it's like your faces switch back and forth. It's like, oh wow, this is kind of trippy quantum stuff, I guess.
Are you
well,
okay,
that's
Raven?
the Quantum Show.
You poor kid.
Yeah.
You've been through the rigor tonight.
I've been looking forward to this night all week, and it's just one thing after another. And I got into, I guess I got jiggers. I don't know. It's all I know is I've got a rash on my legs, about this wide, right above the ankle. And oh my God. So I did something really dumb. I took shipping tape. I was scratching it, and it's the most intense itching I've ever had. I mean, it's just maddening, literally maddening. And so I put shipping tape and just wrapped it around, just trying to, if they're jiggers, you have to smother them anyway, right? Well, I don't advise that to anyone. Don't use shipping tape around your legs, because when you take it off,
it takes waxing to a whole new level, don't it?
Oh my God, yes. Oh
Raven, shipping tape is to keep people still and quiet, not the other thing.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we can talk about shipping tape too.
So did Nathan tell you about
the Siamese overlords? The Siamese overlords are wrecking your life over there.
It does. There are some days that it's just chaos. It's just one thing after another, and I get and then I get mad.
Frank is saying it's changing focus. That is your phone is changing focus depending on who's speaking.
Okay, I'm just gonna ignore it and look at the computer instead.
That'll work.
Yeah, I'll just put it. But you can hear me okay? I'm not too loud?
Not at all.
You're perfect.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, things are working out. Excellent.
Did Nathan tell you about my disappear? Oh, I said something about the disappearing tree. I've had a quantum week, kind of.
Again?
I've got another tree that's missing, and I know that tree was there because every year I hang my bird feeder, my hummingbird feeder, on it, and it's just not there. It's just gone. It's just gone. And I noticed something looking weird when they delivered the washing machine. And they came up back entrance, and I don't use it very often, but it's what the kitchen, door looks out to. And this one branch was just perfectly placed so that I could hang it on there, and then the cats could see it from the table.
and it kept them entertained mildly. And so I know, like I know this is my left hand, that was there. And it's just gone. And there's no stump. There's no one came to remove it. It's right next to the house. I would have known. It didn't fall over. It's just
I have
Raven,
gone.
I know what happened to it.
What happened
I know
to
what
it?
happened. The gophers pulled it down under the ground.
At this point, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be shocked because it's just about anything goes.
I have a
Mhm.
question for you though, and I'm serious. How does your house sit on your property? Is it square with the property, or is it a little catty cornered in it?
Well, it's weird. I mean, it's a hill that comes down, slopes, and then they kind of flattened a little bit, and then this is where the house is, and then it just kind of has a rolling, and then it's a real drop off. So it's just kind of like
Okay.
layers of this hill.
When you
And
when you look out your window or out your front door, okay, specifically your front door, what direction is that?
west, northwest. It's right here.
Northwest, northwest?
West, northwest. Yeah,
It's northwest then.
probably
There's
northwest.
part of your problem. Your property is sitting cattywampus and catching all the weird stuff in the instead of flowing past. And this is sort of a feng shui thing.
Yeah, I was just gonna
But
say.
instead of flowing, it's actually cattywampus. You have a lot of weird stuff happen all the time, don't you?
Yes,
hmm Some of
I
it's
got
I
a
feng
haven't heard that
question.
shui.
term. My grandmother used to say that, cattywampus. That's cool.
What the hell is that? I've never heard that in my entire damn
That's
life.
when a cat goes wampus and wrecks your house. Cattywampus. Yeah.
Have that too. So
If you believe that, I got some Florida properties for sale. It's a little damp. I'm gonna get it. I know. I can see. I know. I see that face.
Hey, I came here of my own free will.
So did I.
Well, the show, just the show. The planet, not so sure.
Cattywampus is a really old term, and I couldn't tell you where it came from. I usually know this stuff.
it sounds kind of Native American, the wampus. Isn't there like a tribe
Well,
that's
wampum was a form
wampum? Something?
of money. Wampum
Oh
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
beads and blankets and all sorts of things. It was used for trade.
That's
But
right. Wampum
wampum
beads.
beads in particular
Right, right.
were
That's where I've heard that.
used. But
So
cattywampus, I
wampus
wouldn't know if
would
that
be
had anything to do with it or not. Does anybody out in the chat room knows something? We're willing to hear it.
I don't know the
Surprised.
history of it either.
Or something, I know that's what Edgar tells us.
What's the deal with pancakes? What's up with this pancake thing? This is a private joke.
Between him and Leslie, I guess, not
Oh,
me.
okay. Oh, okay. I was just okay. I was just looking at the chat, trying to get caught up here a little bit. I heard something about pancakes earlier. Who's
Yeah,
making? Well, yeah, whose turn is it to make pancakes?
Edgar is kind of fixated on pancakes, and at this time
I'm
in the
a
morning,
waffle
I don't
guy.
blame you.
Sorry. I'm a waffle guy.
You're a waffle guy?
I like waffles.
Yeah.
Those are the best things. Have you ever tried chaffles?
No, what's that?
Chaffles is a weird thing. You grease up your waffle maker real good, and scramble an egg in a bowl and pour it in there. And you can use your egg as your egg waffle as an egg wrap for something like bacon, or you can put pancake syrup on if you want to. But I like it because it's pure protein. I'm not using a bread, so that's why I like them.
Mhm.
But they're made all different kinds of ways. First recorded in 1830 and 40, for an earlier sense, utterly cata-diagonally, see catty-cornered, as we would say, wampus, and probably akin to wampish, whatever that means. Leave it. I tell you, that guy could come up with. If you want to know something, Frank will find out. Because now he wants to know too. He is actually very good at research.
I heard you mention that earlier because I had the computer out here and the speakers cranked while I was messing around down there underneath the deck, and I heard you mention something about you were going to research this. I
think so.
Las Vegas.
Yes.
Does anybody know where the alleged aliens are? Did they leave? Are they in custody?
Nobody's talking.
Nobody's talking.
They were gone when the police got there. It took the police an hour to get there, and they were gone.
Well, usually they don't even show up for calls like that.
Right.
But they were saying that fellow officers had seen the same lights, so they were all actually curious, I don't know.
I have a friend in Colorado that witnessed those lights just before that happened there in Las Vegas. And I wanted to tell you, there is a really cool channel here on YouTube of a gentleman that has been photographing the best footage of UFOs I've seen in a long time. He's got a whole entire channel. He's been doing this for years, right outside his bedroom window, and he lives in Las Vegas. And it used to be UFOs over Las Vegas, and now it's just his name. And I discovered this yesterday with Steve. I'll get it here in a minute. But he's been doing this. He was featured on Coast to Coast AM radio with George Norrie. That's how I discovered him. And then he's subsequently been on with Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. It's another internet.
He beat us to it then. It's entirely possible.
He's got some incredible footage and clear, and he's gotten some new equipment, and so where he can really zoom in. And this latest one that not involved in this press release, one that was like a week ago that I watched, is very similar to the one that I've been looking at and filming for the last 2 years. And it morphs, and it almost looks like a ball that has like something around the center of it, like a piece.
We watched one of those. It had to be about 10 years ago when we still lived, not when we were in Las Cruces still and hadn't moved to El Paso yet. We saw some of those. I want to say hi to Diana for coming.
Hey, Diane.
And Crafting Gamer, no problem. We're open to all of it. And Frank says that wampish is to wave about, flop to and fro. So we're going to womp back and forth to say hi to Diane.
Okay.
Incredible waving. What was that guy's name?
YMCA. Okay.
No, the guy, the family guy. The incredible wacky
awesome.
waving arm inflatable guy,
Yeah,
that's wampish. How about that?
That's what I was thinking.
It's my new favorite word.
Wampish, I love it.
And thank you, Crafting Gamer, for looking that up for us as well.
And following from over my show, I appreciate it, bud.
Yeah,
he's a good guy.
Where did I find
it's I don't know how much we're going to get accomplished on it. We got a number of projects this week, but I'm going to look and try to find something more on it because there's got to be something out there. Google just doesn't drop stuff. They usually will put it away so you can't find it. But then if you know how to find it, that's another
what we really need are boots on the ground, a guy to drive around the neighborhoods of Vegas and find a house. I hate to say it, but that's what I would do,
Yeah, and I'm
find
not
the
going
house
to Vegas. They ain't happening.
The kid?
Nope.
okay, the guy went on one. He went on one interview. It was Uncle something, but I'm looking it up on YouTube right now on the computer down here. ABC has covered it. CBS, Fox.
Wow.
All the mainstream Muggle news is covering this stuff, and I'm like,
How about
who gave
Newsmax?
them the go ahead? You know?
It could be they simply got there before anybody was able to tell them to sit still. You know, I mean, after all, they have a lot of their main broadcasting areas. Their main broadcasting companies are located in Vegas, not just in
Yeah.
LA.
Yeah.
No, they have main
One of
hubs of places.
I was listening to one, and one of the newscasters said that they had went back to try to interview them, and they wouldn't answer the door. They
Right.
weren't.
They've gone dark. They've
Well,
gone
I
dark.
imagine you'd have to, though. Really, I mean, think about it. You'd have every Tom, Dick, and Harry beating down your door, wanting an interview
Yeah.
or wanting to snag your picture, or you know,
No privacy, people peeking in your windows. You'd be terrified,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. They
Especially
probably
there.
moved out, went to a hotel for a while or something. That's what I would do.
Well,
I'd just stick my
whoever
tack on them.
and promise somebody an exclusive interview, just put me up at the Hilton for a couple of days.
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
That's what I would do. I'm serious.
Okay. All right. This guy's name is I'm gonna put a link in the chat. Steve. I don't have my glasses out here. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Here. Oh, I do. Oh, I mean, here we go.
I don't know
It's
how.
Steve
If I didn't have
Barone.
my glasses, I wouldn't be able to go from point A to point
Steve
Z.
Barone. All right. Let me get to his channel here. Yeah. Used to be UFOs. He has there was like a mining thing that these UFOs were doing one time. The last time I had tuned into his channel through Coast to Coast, they usually have them on once a year. There was this really kind of a weird, like diamond shaped UFO that was going over into the hills on the very backside of Las Vegas, and then it was like hovering there, and then it was going back, and it was just kind of moving stuff back and forth. What was that? Did you hear that? Did anyone hear that?
I saw a flash, but that was it. And it could have been my glasses. I don't know. Report says other neighbors thought they saw government vehicles in the neighborhood following the incident. I don't doubt it.
I heard that too.
Right.
There's body
Danger
cam
Zone.
footage released of the officers saying they normally would not look at these things, but one of them had seen them. So they wanted to know too, or they wouldn't have gone at all.
Right. That's what I was alluding to earlier.
Well, some neighborhoods are so dangerous the cops simply don't go. And that's being honest about it.
You mean like all of California?
I was thinking Seattle, but that's close enough.
Yeah, our sheriff. They said don't come here. If you're not from here, don't come here.
Yeah. No, it's dangerous.
Yeah, I was trying to look up that other interview that kid did online, but I can't find it anywhere yet. I'm gonna have to keep looking. It's Rich quoted him. Rich covered the interview that he was on. Let me see if I can.
Frank says to contact Fox 5 in Vegas.
So what are the odds we get this? Oops, sorry about that. We have this incident, and then we have, of course, the stooge from Louis Elizondo's protege coming forth as a whistleblower with no evidence in the same week. What is that?
I don't know what the point is of even bringing him up. You know?
Yeah.
Grouch.
Just such a,
yeah.
He just is. I don't know. He's invalidated himself in a number of ways from what I understand. I
One of
don't
the
have
things that
personal.
I thought was so bizarre was he had that ready-made picture of him standing there with all of his medals that was in a frame. You know, and he has hands laying on top of the frame and all of
Like
his.
posturing.
Sounds like the ultimate narcissist to me.
Yeah, yeah. Here's all my awards. This, you know, believe me. You know, for a
I'll tell
minute.
you what. Some of the biggest liars I've ever heard have have they they have just shored themselves up with all this false proof, and awards are from whom? I worked for a guy in Las Cruces when I first came here, and he was a mortgage person. He had his entire wall framed with awards, awards of all kinds. He
Oh,
passed himself
yeah.
off as the school superintendent, and he had this big education. He had that on the wall. He had all these things. And a reporter from one of the one of the news stations in El Paso somehow or another decided that he was running for school board again or some such, and he decided to take a looky at those awards. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not kidding. There was 100 of them. He asked me what I knew about him. I said, not a damn thing, and don't want to. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, if you're going to look into them, look closely. I said, that's all I have to say about it. And of course, I know a fake when I see one.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, not always. I have been fooled. I have, and pretty bad and badly too. But he started digging, and he dug in the guy's education stuff that had to be verified. He was the biggest shyster hoax character you ever saw. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever I see somebody with an armload of awards, I always wonder how.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's kind of
And I wouldn't have
um,
wondered if they hadn't showed me all their proof ahead of their what they were saying.
Mhm.
You know?
mm-hmm. And some of them I've seen where I was, you know, just left alone in the office while they got up and went out to go to the copier or whatever. Like there's like something from high school. It was mixed in with some of that stuff, like you know, someone a baking award or some silly thing like that. I'm like,
Made the best pie at the fair,
you
huh?
know, yeah, I'm like
Ooh.
what? But it was, you know, just for the show of it, you know, it's yet
Yeah.
another
Frank says, "Can you
diploma
say
thing.
diploma mill?"
Yeah,
Oh
diploma mill.
yeah. He
Yes,
had
I
an
was trying to think
armload
of
of
that.
those. He paid for it with good hard-earned cash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's quite a few of
Yeah.
those.
He was quite the shyster.
I was surprised that you can be a reverend and actually be legal to marry people by a
Mhm.
mail-in
Yes,
diploma,
you can.
basically.
Yes, you
Oh,
can.
that's been a thing since the very beginning of Rolling Stone
Yeah.
magazine.
Rolling Stone?
Oh yeah, yeah. You could go into Rolling Stone magazine and mail away like $5 to the Universal Church or something like that, and they'd send
I
you.
think it was universal. Yeah.
Universal.
And
Oh
Yeah.
my God,
and
that's
next thing you know,
hilarious.
you don't even need to own your own boat. Just
I
send them
was just
$5.
gonna say, are they boat? Wow,
Next thing you
I
know,
didn't
you're
know that.
Actually,
officiating at all kinds of.
actually, in the case of a lot of pagan uh, coven and places that are people that don't necessarily have a formal system of education that's used quite often, and
Mm-hmm.
we've got to be able to marry our own people. We need to be able to
Hmm.
bury our own people, and it takes a reverend to get the job done.
And a good
Right.
Yep.
So,
shovel.
pardon me.
And a good shovel.
and a good shovel. But the biggest thing is that, well, and that's not to down anybody else's religion, okay? But it's very difficult when you have a parishioner. Universal Life Church is what it was. That's what Frank says. But it is very difficult when a covenor decides that they want to be buried a certain way, remembered a certain way, and they want certain things done for their memorial.
Right.
And you get a family member who says that's not going to be done. So then it takes the individual to have a will and state that stuff, how they want to be buried, how they want to be memorialized,
Mhm.
and that Aunt Kathy can't, or Aunt Susie, or whoever can't dictate that it's going to be done with the Holy Church. Now that, and the same thing if you're a Tibetan monk. It takes a certain standing to be able to do that legally in most of our states.
Yep.
So in marriage in particular,
Mm-hmm.
it's like if you don't want to be married in the church, how are you going to get married? You're going to trot down to the
Courthouse.
city hall and pay a judge money you'd rather have your priestess or priest have, and marry you in a Christian ceremony again, and pagans don't want that. They would prefer to have their own rituals and ways of doing things observed. The Wiccan Church is a church and is recognized by the United States government.
Yes. Yes.
So, us having these credentials is critical to our being able to operate in a legal fashion in this country. And the Satanists are too. And no, they're not affiliated with us. They have a whole different system of doing things than we do.
Right. Yeah, they offered me if I could I was in the Army, I was a chaplain's assistant, and they offered me chaplain if I had some kind of education to go behind it. At the time, I didn't know of any. There was no seminary for pagans. It was, I don't know if there is now or not. Hey, Derek, welcome back to the chat.
They have tried to create certain university credentials in New York and in North Carolina. And of course, anything like this is uphill because trying to tell one pagan how to do things from another one is like herding cats.
Yeah.
And then having the government tell them.
Activity.
I know how. Yeah.
Right, and then having the government try to dictate what is a standard to pagans that doesn't work very well either.
They don't like it. None of them like it, but it is accepted that Wiccans fall under harm none, do as thou wilt, except in self-defense it be, ever mind the rule of three, which is a simple way of saying don't hurt anybody else. Don't expect to get away with it either, which is the ever mind the rule of three. And we are given a pass if we have to defend our own. So that's pretty straightforward.
Simple.
It's very complicated once you start thinking about it, though.
Once you implementing it gets complicated.
It can.
But that's why I didn't go back. That's why I didn't go back as an officer, as a chaplain. They offered it to me. the slot was open. And I was literally one of the only people in the Army qualified to any extent to go do that job. Because as a pagan, I wouldn't have been.
As a youngster that age, what were you, 25, 26 maybe?
I was 25. At the time I was 25. Okay. And I could have gone and been a chaplain, but I would have had to put at least a couple of years of some kind of seminary-like instruction, but where to get it, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's obtainable in a coven, and it's obtainable through being an assistant to a priest or a priestess, and learning the family business, so to speak.
Does this cover all other like non-Christian? Would you cover the Buddhist as well as the Wiccan and the Hindu, or is it just for
as a chaplain?
Chaplain? No, it wouldn't. It would cover.
Yeah, chaplain a chaplain has to cover all of them because there's only one of the guys, right, to a battalion, a brigade, etc. Right. There's only one. So he would have to wing it,
Right. Okay.
Best he could. Like,
he really would. Whether he was a Lutheran, whether he was a Lutheran chaplain or a Wiccan one or a Satanist, he would still have to educate himself so he could minister to the people that he was there to serve. If you've got a Buddhist in your group, you better know something about Buddhism.
Do they recognize Satanism?
I'm sorry, please?
Do they recognize Satanism? They do?
Satanism? Wow. Yeah, it's a real live church. It hasn't been for long, but they do recognize it.
Interesting.
It is recognized by the military.
Yeah, and it's recognized in the federal government. So it's I don't know. They have their factions too, and you've got to realize that they're not one group. There are many groups.
Yeah, that's true.
And some of them are perfectly fine people, and others of them are a little off the wall.
Yeah.
And in paganism, most of them are perfectly fine, and some of them are off the wall. In Christianity, there's plenty of them that are fine, and there's a few that are near in hell. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. Or worse.
Or worse. You're gonna find the human condition in all of them.
Yeah, I find that the ones that protest the most though tend to be some of these really extreme Christian. They're They're not. I don't even know. They have different names for themselves. First, holy, whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, they have their different factions too.
They were protesting
lump them either. I mean, they have different factions. Some of them are actually fall under the heading of cult.
Yeah.
And others of them are well established. And they just have a certain way of looking at things. So I think one of the biggest mistakes we make as a country is trying to pigeonhole these different groups of believers. And I say believers because they're who's involved believing. Whether it's believing in the God and Goddess or believing in Jesus or maybe just believing in God or believing in the devil, There's many factions each kind, and it can vary between churches.
I always thought of it as a very private and personal thing.
We just lost her.
Okay, what the hell is going on here?
Is your phone ringing?
Okay. Oh, my phone's ringing. Okay.
Oh, that's. Did it decline?
I didn't know what. Did you even hear me talk?
No, nothing.
It was.
Oh, okay.
It was.
That's
Mm-mm.
weird.
That's okay. Well, y'all, check it out. It's been 3 hours on the panel,
Really?
and it's
Wow.
been good. Yeah, it's been 3 hours. We have flown through this one, right? And it was good. All of it was good.
Yeah.
We covered
Hmm.
Las Vegas. We
I got to
covered.
listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah. You were covered up over there, Raven. It's okay. You had your hands full. Broken Glass
Yeah, I
Kitten
did.
and raining and everything.
Yeah. Things just get real for you in a hurry. That's all.
But yeah, we've
Yeah,
gone
they
over
do.
plenty of stuff. We've gone over the ufological aspect of Las Vegas. Okay, I am still going to keep calling it the Las Vegas incident of 2023.
Yeah,
I'm going to
that's a
call
good
it that
word for it.
forever because it wasn't just a sighting. It wasn't a singular person having an experience. There were reports, cops, multiple witnesses. The video they had, that was okay, but the kid was freaked out. So it's hard to get video. But I think there are other videos. I just don't think they're been made public yet. And
I can
we
see
talked
them
about,
gathering all of that up. I really can.
yeah, and telling
The
people,
black
oh, they,
ATVs were there on site within minutes.
right,
So yeah.
right. And when people in charge tell you, they are very intimidating. They can be very intimidating. And
Yeah, that's
Derek's
true.
in the chat. Just want to say that Las Vegas family is selling NFTs.
What is that? NFT.
I don't know.
An
NFTs
NFT.
now, shirts, merchandise, and the kid was wearing a Simpsons hoodie. Also, beware of grifters. Yeah, there's a video that came out. Okay, yeah, they're trying to cash in. That's just
Sure.
what people do,
That's
you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Well, hell
people
yeah.
just do that. I
You got a
mean,
UFO land in your yard, and why not? It's not
yeah.
every day.
Let's make it a
Somebody
let's make a
has a UFO
T-shirt.
land in their yard,
Like
right?
winning the lottery, please.
Hell yeah.
But that's
Well,
what Derek
yeah,
is saying,
you
and
have,
yeah, I'm
everybody and their brother. Go ahead.
trying to cash in. Yeah, I mean, look at all these news outlets, all the people getting the interviews now.
Yeah.
I just, yeah, he says beware of grifters. Yeah, we always got to watch out for that stuff, snake oil salesmen and stuff. But
Grifters
we
are
covered,
like being a common citizen right now. It
yeah,
really is.
yeah, just if you're not a sellout, you're a grifter. Or if you're not
This
paid
could
by
have
the
been
government, you're a grifter.
this
And
event could have been, something that this family, has been praying for. They needed something to happen where they could,
Pay the
make some
rent.
money for something.
Good for them. Yeah, I mean,
The
okay,
universe works in strange ways, as we know, right?
yeah, well,
Plenty
exactly.
of times.
We've talked
So
about all of that, and we've talked about now. I got to bring up my topic of the blurriness and the screaming while praying. So those were big ones for me. Those rung a bell. So
Yeah.
and we talked about well, we dissected it as much as we can without having the interviews right here on the show. And I don't have permission to play anyone else's video, so I'm not going to. Links, I will get the links done in the description after the show, probably tomorrow. But
We'll
yeah, I need
around this week and see what we can find.
right. I know Amy covered it. I covered it that day too on my little short. Amy covered it. Rich covered it. I covered it. Freaking everybody's covering it, and it's like mainstream news. And that's what the fact that the mainstream has picked it up and run with it makes me think: is this being used as a distraction? That's
That was
a
my
possibility.
first thought.
That's a possibility.
I
So,
actually said as much to Frank. Is this thing a distraction to keep us from noticing something else that's going on?
right. So I'm also watching the sub headlines, not the headlines, but the page 2 of stuff, and
And the back page too.
right, I'm waiting to see something else try to sneak by, and we covered the mystical praying while screaming, or screaming while praying. Sorry, and
Oh, I
don't know
missed
if
that
you can
part.
do both of
Screaming while
that.
praying.
yeah, they went in the house scared, and they started praying, and the kid said he could hear them screaming in the backyard. I have a feeling what that is not okay. Now, when someone hears that, a lot of people go, "It's demons." Wait,
Yeah. Right.
I didn't get that. I got that's how they that frequency, the frequency of prayer, is what they communicate with. They couldn't communicate with that because the humans, were in there using their quantum link to pray in Jesus' name,
Oh,
and they couldn't hear themselves. So they had to
okay.
use verbal, and that probably isn't their main line of communication, to
Right.
Yeah.
cut
Right.
through the noise.
That
And
makes
to
sense.
humans,
Yeah.
it sounds
Diane,
like screaming.
Diane's got a good point. She doesn't think the kid's story is true. Well, I think it's not a question of if it's true. I'm wondering how coached is it. Okay.
Or misinterpreted.
Well, and it like he looks like he's reading notes, and I
Yeah.
don't know about you, but I don't read notes during a catastrophe of apocalyptical
Yeah.
proportions.
Yeah.
Taco
Yeah.
lips
Well,
are coming.
That's time to write cliff notes.
You know,
Right.
but,
Right.
I wonder if he wasn't coached. That occurred to me. It did.
right. And a month had passed. For a family that's scared, a month is not long enough. But for a government agency, that's plenty of time.
Mhm.
You mean this?
For
This event in Las Vegas just
At the end
you mean it didn't just
April,
happen?
beginning of May? I don't
no,
remember when it happened.
it was May 1st.
May 1st. Okay. If it had been April
Yeah.
1st, none of us would have believed it.
Right.
know.
Right.
But I think the kid was coached. I really do. You may say this, you may not say that. You may say this, you may not say that.
That's a good point because the agents were
That's
there.
why it sounds false.
They were there. Yeah, they were there. And he was
And this kid's
obviously
scared to death
reading.
he's done something, or
Mhm.
or the family might be hurt or somehow. Kids worry about a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
Got a question.
So,
How did it take them
Yeah.
so
So
long?
this
I mean-
actually happened almost a month ago, but it was released this week.
over a
No,
month ago.
It was released at the time.
Oh no,
I saw it. I saw
See,
it May.
that changed things.
It
Yeah,
didn't.
I did.
That
And this kid has a UFO
I
station
didn't realize
on
that either.
YouTube. You heard, but do you know
Yeah.
for sure?
I think he has 2 videos. I found him. Let me see here. What is his? I can't remember his name. I checked
don't know.
Amy's show.
What's that kid's name, Frank? You don't. He doesn't
Steve.
know.
His first name's Steve. But Diane says the kid has an actual UFO station on YouTube, or so she heard.
He does.
Well, he may have now, but did he before? That's
No.
That's a bigger question.
Yeah, 'cause
They
I mean, if something like this happened to me-
Amy and Rich both tackled that one. No, he has one maybe 2 videos on his thing.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
That's understandable.
Well, I don't know.
Um,
I've heard of kids have some pretty elaborate ruses out there, and
Sure.
it's a good idea to at least take a look. It's not calling anybody a liar. It's called being sure of your
Due
facts.
diligence.
it's
Due
awfully
diligence.
suspicious though that they bring it out this week. with the
Yeah.
whole whistleblower
Well,
thing. You know,
they're kindling it back up, and that's puzzling. It's why now? Why bring it up now? It's
Right.
been
Why
under
did they
Yeah.
make it
for
mainstream?
months.
I think
Yeah.
probably has something to do with politics, so that we're looking at
Mhm.
this and not looking about what's going on with the
Or who just got indicted
debt
or
ceiling
whatever
and
else. Yeah.
somebody's laptop that got left at a dry cleaners or whatever the hell, or repair shop or something. You know, things like that.
No, we don't know anything
Somebody's
about that on the
underwear
Quantum
showing.
Show.
Somebody's
I don't know if
Freudian
you guys
slip
could hear this.
happened, you know. There's been plenty this week.
There's a crazy. I don't. Can you guys hear the animals when they something has been out
Sometimes.
here tonight? And anyway, they just all of a sudden they'll just start screaming or whatever. I don't. Can you guys hear that when
No,
that happens?
the other animal. I thought you meant the rising sun.
I'm not
animals.
hearing
Okay.
anything.
No, no, not cats. It's like I think they're raccoons, but I don't know. Earlier there
Everybody
was
says
something,
it's
maybe a
too
deer
quiet in
or
the
a person.
country. Anybody tells me it's too quiet in the country hasn't been listening very well. I think it's hilarious. I think
It's
it's
just
too
been,
quiet in this city.
No one is.
it's been strange. Just the last couple of nights, there's been like some weird animal noises that I haven't heard before. And I don't know what it is. It's probably a chupacabra with my luck. That's all I need.
I think you're a
The
little north,
Illinois
north of
Chupacabra.
where
I
that.
know him
Yeah,
well.
It's probably
sure.
Jersey Devil. Jersey Devil's more likely.
Jersey Devil, that could be. They have something along the Mississippi River that's called the Momo, and it's kind of like a cross between like the Swamp Thing and a Sasquatch and
Yeah.
a Dogman type thing. Thankfully, I've never
the
seen
other
it,
one.
nor do I want to. But
We used to refer to our chihuahuas as Chupawawa. So, go figure. She'd sneak around and try to get plates,
I think like the chupacabra is probably an alien pet that they, let out to go potty, and he just got lost and ran off.
Yeah, that might be
Yeah.
Bigfoot too, come to think of it. I don't know. I actually saw something. I don't know what it was in Ohio. We were going down the highway. We were going to go camping. It was quite late, but the ex was doing second shift, and we were going to go for a long weekend, and we wanted to be there in the morning, And we were going down the two-lane highway, and something stepped out of the woods. It was a huge something. It was bigger than a man, and it wasn't a bear. I've seen bears all my life. It wasn't a bear. So I kind of think we probably saw one.
Yeah,
But
sounds like
it was the hairiest thing. And what was strange, we had our windows down. It stank.
Yeah, then you did. You saw one. Yep.
Is that one
Those
of
are
the
the
things?
telltale sign.
I haven't had much traffic with that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
then the ex, country folk, he was living on a farm with his friend, and they had gotten up early, and they saw a big something on chicken coop. He said, and it wasn't a bear. He said it looked like a man and a dog in a dog costume. And it was huge. It didn't have a muzzle, but it was huge.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that gives me shivers.
And it was sitting on a chicken coop, not killing the chickens, but taking the eggs.
Yeah. That definitely was a Bigfoot then.
Well,
Or Dogman.
Dogman. I'm thinking Dogman.
It's possible.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
It didn't have a
taking
But it was
taking the
really
eggs but not killing the chickens.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
that doesn't follow because dogs, canines, love chasing chickens and killing chickens.
Dogs do. I totally agree.
Yeah, they do.
Dog man, that's it's not a wild animal or even a wild dog. If it was like somebody in a dog suit, they
Well, look,
are intelligent and they're
I got a
just
funny
apex predators. But they
Like-
also they know what chickens are. I'm pretty sure. I mean,
well, yeah, if he knew
Oh,
to get
God.
the eggs out of the coop.
and
I got a
not
funny
harm the
chicken story
chickens.
for you. I got a funny chicken story for you. This is so
Oh,
I
boy.
did this on my show a couple weeks ago. This is a true story. I could not even make this up. This is so funny. So there's these two neighbors that hate each other, and they're living in China, and the one neighbor has these chickens, right? He had like 1,000 chickens, and I wouldn't want to live next door to somebody that lived with 1,000 chickens either. But anyway, well, the other neighbor had cut down a tree that was very close to the borderline of their properties. Well, that neighbor thought that the tree belonged on his side and that was his tree and vice versa, right? So he gets mad and he sneaks over to his neighbors and he steals the wood from the tree because he's convinced that was his tree and he was wrong and he thinks he's rude that he didn't say anything to him. Well, that neighbor gets mad that he come over and stole the tree back. Apparently, you can terrorize a chicken with a flashlight and it will kill them. I did not know this.
They get scared to death. And
Yes.
that's the word.
So
to
the
death.
neighbor gets over there and he crawls over there and he crawls under the fence with his flashlight. And he's like, "Nah, he's terrorizing the chickens." And they all go over to the corner of the yard and died. There's like 500 of them died, right? And so it's not funny, but it's funny. So okay, he calls the cops, and the police come out there and they arrest the neighbor, and he spends the night in jail. And he's mad as hell now, right? The judge, he immediately gets sentenced, and he's like ordered to pay his neighbor for all this, and he's not going to do that because this neighbor, wrongly took this tree and all this shit, right? So the dumbass doesn't learn a lesson. The very next night, he gets a flashlight and he sneaks or crawls under the fence, and he gets over there and he does what he does with the flashlight, and he kills the rest of them. Sure enough, cops get called, and they put him in jail. He spends the night. This time, he doesn't get bailed out, and the judge tells him, he told him that he upped the price, so that now he's got to pay the neighbor double for per chicken than he did previously the day before. Can you believe that? That judge? Well, the judge said, and he gave him some time in the clinker because of his lack of remorse.
It's a wonder the neighbor didn't fill his rear end full of buckshot.
Oh, who does that though? Who, to get revenge at somebody terrorizes their chickens. I mean, it just cracked me up, and I didn't know you could do that with a flashlight. I thought, what was he doing, like flashing it, making horrible, scary faces? How you can hold a flashlight underneath your chin, and
if you throw your coat open and they're not expecting it, it could cause some heart attack.
Yeah,
seriously. If you're not wearing anything, that'll really shock them.
And you can,
and we
and you
eat
can
these
hypnotize
dumbass
the
birds.
chicken. Huh?
And we eat these dumbass birds. No wonder we're getting stupid as a people.
You eat chicken.
That explains it all. Thank you,
They're
Raven.
dumber than anybody.
That is hysterical.
Okay.
I mean,
Now we can just blame it on the chickens.
It's
And
the
the neighbor,
chicken's
though,
fault.
he's just not even thinking right. You don't go and do the same crime the very next night. I mean, that's just he had to have wanted to get caught. I know.
Yeah,
Well, the whole thing is a bit
I don't
childish,
know.
right? And these are two grown
bit
men,
childish, just a little bit.
just a little bit, yeah, fighting over a tree.
Okay.
You know.
Oh,
I take everything back I ever said about my son, Frank. He's a genius.
All right then. Well, y'all, this is a good way to end the show.
On a chicken joke.
Yeah, on
Chicken.
the chicken jokes.
Like
All right,
a
well-
man crossed the road. Someone
To get
scared
to
him with
the
a
other
damn
side.
flashlight.
I dream of a time when a chicken can cross a road and not have his motives questioned. I dream.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. It's 30 minutes since we said end of show.
Oh, we
That's
always do
okay.
that, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, and hey, that's the way it is here at the Quantum Show. I wouldn't have it no other way. And all right, everybody, it's been awesome. This has been a great panel. We talked all about it, and I think we agree we need more information about the Las Vegas incident 2023. So
We'll see if we
I'm
get
going
it.
to start.
Yeah.
I'm going to start looking, and I'm going to start digging deeper than just the first page of Google. I'm going to go farther than that.
I could
And
probably give
Between
you
the
some
four of
stuff
us,
about
we can
the.
come up with something.
yeah,
There was a story about 2 years ago that was done about how the aliens, how the black ops take the aliens over to Las Vegas for gambling and for fun, and how to point them out in a crowd. And there was a whole big article that was done about how most of Las Vegas are actually extraterrestrials.
They take him to the ranch.
I would like to know this article, please. If you can
I will
find
get
it.
this for you. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
We did a radio
Okay.
show on it
That
on the
in
Strange
too,
Phenomena and
okay.
Mystery Show. And I'll find
Okay.
that because that'd be some good intel for you there. Follow up on.
Yeah. That would be good to. I would like to follow up on that one. All right, everybody. Yeah, it's been great. This has been a great
It's been
show.
great.
It's been fun. The
As
first
always.
hour was good. I liked it. I liked the first hour. I was energetic. I just started drinking coffee and everything. And now I'm starting to wind down. So
I'm starting to wonder
okay,
what you're putting
we're
in
going to
there.
go back. Right. We're going to go backstage. Nobody hang up on the screen, okay? And we'll
Okay.
take it from there and we'll all that. All right. Everybody,
After
thanks for
party.
coming in the chat. We maintained 9 people the whole show. So they're lurking and listening. Yep.
All
and
right.
good night,
Thank you.
Diane. Good night, everyone.
night.
Thank you for coming by the Quantum Show. Hit like and subscribe. If you're here, you're Quantum. Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of the night.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
We need
Pushing
T-shirts that say that.
Keeping it Quantum. Pushing buttons. Oh, pushing buttons. Got to push those buttons.